Comic Timing is member supported by listeners like you over at patreon.com/comic timing. We thank you very much for your continued support of the show. For as little as $1 a month, you get access to some behind the scenes goodies, occasional articles, occasional content, occasional videos and audio and all that fun stuff. And we thank you very much for your continued support of the show that help us keep putting this show out over at patreon.com/comic timing. And one-time donations can be made over at paypal.me/IAM sci-fi if you don't go the Patreon route. But hey, $1 a month. Come on, people. Come on.
Come on.
Hey there, folks. My name's Ian Levinstein, and welcome to episode 253 of Comic Timing. It's hot out there. It's really freaking hot out there. So,
yes, it is.
Fair warning for you audio listeners. It probably won't affect the video listeners too much, but if you hear a hum in the background, that's my air conditioner because it is 96 degrees out right now in the Bronx, and I need to survive. So does Raph. Hey, Raph.
Oh, yeah. I left work at a little before 5. It was 101.
Yeah.
Yeah. It was bad. But hello, listeners. Hello, viewers. We are preing the views.
Yes. Also bubbling a little bit more than his usual time bubbleness, the one and only Adam Murdo, as I'm sure it's a scorcher there in Pennsylvania as well. Oh, actually, I'm sorry, New Jersey. Yes.
Right. I'm down the Jersey Shore, Ian, and it is actually a little cooler down here.
Not bad.
We're probably down to upper 80s by this point.
Nice.
And,
nice.
So hopefully I won't have to turn my AC unit on because it will be a little more than a dull roar. I mean, it's old, it's janky, it's not as noise efficient as yours are. So fair
enough. But again, you have that Jersey breeze going in your direction here. Me, I face an alleyway where my apartment is, and that equals not that much airflow to begin with. And on a day like this, even less. So good times. All right. Well, this is our previews episode. Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's a thing.
For now.
For now. And you know what? I may as well play it one more time. Breaking news as previews has gone to shit. That's
there's a headline, folks.
Exactly.
Rest in peace.
Yeah. Diamond has officially terminated all distribution of its physical media version of previews. As of the next release, as of July, there will no longer be a physical copy of Diamond's previews catalog available in any form. They are shifting entirely to digital. With let me find the name of the actual company that they're doing it through. But basically, the previews catalog is going to be available in like a digital magazine format, which will then link directly to the website. Comics Beat had the article about 5 days ago, so I will go ahead and share that here. They're using a program called JewMag. Horrible name. Absolutely horrible name.
They've used that before, I think.
Okay, well, JOOMAG is the name of the format that the digital only version of the previews catalog will be coming out. No printed catalog produced this month or for the foreseeable future. Links to the catalog will be provided in Diamond Daily and on previewsworld.com when the July 2025 data files go live on June 20th. So they are available now as we record this. All accessible online at previewsworld.com via JewMag free of charge. So once upon a time, they used to try to charge for the digital version of Diamond, so at least they're not bothering to try to do that because nobody actually paid for it. There were always free ways to get it anyway. Not that I, in any way, shape, or form, know anything about that, running a previews thing for as long as I have now, but that's beside the point. Either way, kind of an end of an era here that everybody kind of saw coming. And it's really unfortunate when you think about it. Just the steady decline that Diamond has gone through in one form or another. And Murd, I'm sure your physical heart is very much palpitating right now with the loss of a monthly catalog to look through.
I feel like clutching this thing close to my breast because we'll never pass this way again, I'm afraid. I didn't get my copy of this through DCBS either. Mm-hmm. I picked this up at my LCS, Golden Eagle Comics.
Oh, interesting. Yeah.
I feel like I ought to frame it or something since it's.
Well, the best / worst part of it is that the cover that you just showed, which I'll also be sharing in the not too distant future, advertises a Conan book through Titan, and Titan has not received payments from Diamond Comics and has stopped supplying them books. So go figure that the very last cover of a Diamond catalog is for a book that will probably never come out through Diamond, because Titan is basically saying, no, we're not going to give you anything until we actually get money. And I don't think they're ever going to get money, quite frankly. It's a lost lead, basically, if they were to pay back anybody that they owe money to at this point. Just try to keep chugging along with what you currently still have left, company wise. So, really. Oni also pulled out. Fantagraphics is stopping their distribution through Diamond as well, even though they're listed in this month's catalog. I'm going to be going Fantagraphics through Lunar. Lunar's catalog is pretty robust and has a lot of stuff in it. It's also digital only, so there's no physical copy of it produced every month. So you're still going to have to look at it that way. Unfortunately, I mean, maybe at some point they might pivot, but there's really no reason for them to, because what's much easier to just put a PDF online than have extra stuff printed and distributed to everybody through catalogs, just stores and whatnot. Trying to think of others. Oh yeah, Dynamite has also now officially gone Lunar exclusive. So this is the last month that Dynamite's stuff is in the Diamond catalog. We will be mentioning that through Diamond, but most of the stuff listed through Dynamite this month probably will be coming out in a few months through Lunar and not actually released in this fashion. Raph, thoughts on the death of physical?
I didn't realize my leaving Diamond would have such an impact on them.
It was just a couple years. It
got delayed by a couple years, but I mean, it's just sad because I feel like, the thing is, COVID really hurt physical stores of any business out there, and Diamond and comic books in general rely on physical locations, and it's really sad to see this happen. Not to mention, between my LinkedIn and my Facebook, seeing all these people I knew at Diamond talking about how they're leaving the company and they're looking for work, and or they've been laid off. It's just it's kind of sad to see it. My heart goes out to everyone I used to work with. If you're listening to this, I don't know if you are, but it's such a wild thing, I've never. I don't think I've ever worked for a company that just ceased to function.
Yeah,
and this is the closest. This is pretty close. So
I've had a couple of close calls. Like I at one point worked for the company Patch.com, which at the time was owned by AOL and is now, if not independent, then owned by somebody else. And there was a period there where if you went to Patch.com, it said site not found, until eventually they wound up figuring out their model, and they've actually survived pretty well under new ownership. But that's about as close as I came. But mind you, working for AOL in general equals old company that barely even exists. So that's beside the point.
Not to mention, I started collecting comics right after the disaster at Marvel with Heroes World. So Diamond has dominated the industry since I became a week-to-week collector and reader. And now it's I don't know if it's a brave new world, but it is sort of uncharted territory, having I mean, multiple distributors, but also one of them being like a gigantic book market distributor, and comics is probably like less than 10% of their bottom line. Okay, maybe that's a little much, but like it's a much smaller part of their business than it was for Diamond.
Sure.
And so I wonder how their treatment of comics and the direct market's going to be like in the future. There's just a lot to consider.
There might not be a direct market much longer, to be entirely honest with you.
That's true.
Like restructuring and maybe combining the distribution models for bookstores and comic book stores may be the way to go. And I don't know if we're going to get there immediately, but it's all part of this now. And weirdly enough, other news that came out this week, and Murd, I'm not sure if you heard about this, is that DC Comics now has a second distributor, and it's Universal Distribution. The guys who bought the gaming portion of Diamond are now extending themselves across the border from Canada and will be the distributor for DC Comics along with Lunar. So yeah, I don't know like how they're dividing the country, but similar fashion to how Midtown Comics distribution arm covered half the country and Lunar covered the other half right after COVID.
Another former employer of mine.
Yeah, exactly. I know. We're just throwing them all out there, Raph. I swear to God. Like, you get around, man. You get around.
I do get around.
But I assume it's going to be a similar model in one fashion or another, where Universal takes on half the country and Lunar takes on the other, just for ease of DC. But I wouldn't be shocked if they also take on other comers here. Other former Diamond distributors that are looking for a little bit more of a market share in the process. So who the hell knows? Weirdly enough, Bleeding Cool is one of the websites that's actually done an amazing job of putting together all the Diamond news. I don't always go to them because, for one thing, if you don't have an ad blocker, it's almost impossible to read that site. So make sure you have an ad blocker installed before you head to Bleeding Cool. Also, they're a rumor rag for the most part, but when they do stuff right, they do it right. And they've been covering the Diamond news very, very well. Within the last 3 hours, 2 other pieces broke. Kathy Gouvier, the chief marketing and communications officer of Diamond, is out. She is now no longer with Diamond and looking for a new job. So that's yet another person gone. And also, to show the sad state of things, this week there are 5 comics on Diamond's final order cutoff. That's it. 5 comics. And that's a sad state.
That is pretty bleak.
That is a sad state. I mean, yes, understandable, still restructuring and all that jazz, but the Hal trade paperback, Love Struck #1, Trident of Ariera Corazon #3, and Archie Milestones #30 are the only comics listed as final cutoff. The week that we're recording this. How the mighty fall.
Mm-hmm. Gaze upon their works, ye mighty, in despair.
Unfortunately. What we will say, though, is that a version of this episode will continue to come out. The Lunar is still a thing. A lot of the individual companies are putting out individual catalogs, as you will very well see on this episode. IDW, Dark Horse, Boom, Titan, Marvel, DC, Image, like they're all well covered. It's just the back of the book is going to have to be mostly Lunar with occasional dalliances into Diamond, similar to the way we did it a couple months ago when we were very uncertain as to what Diamond's future was going to be. It's just, it's a Lunar world and we live in it. So that's Penguin Random House, Lunar with a little bit of Diamond. So comics are still coming out. We're still gonna cover them. Just got to pivot and do what we got to do. Pivot. Speaking of which, let me go ahead and head over right now. And we can start by laughing at the cover once again of Previews issue 441, covering a book that will probably never come out through them. So Conan the Barbarian we will talk about later, but unfortunately is not coming out through them. Yep. The Image catalog this month is issue 8. We have issue 45 of Marvel's catalog, and out of DC, where see now I gotta figure out where everything is. DC's catalog is issue 61. I'm gonna drag that over just for my own sake here, and there'll be a bunch of other catalogs too by other companies as needed. But we will start with Image as we tend to do. As there's a bunch of good Image books to discuss this month, including starting off with Rick Remender and Daniel Acuña Perez. He added an extra name all of a sudden. That's weird. Even though he's just listed as Daniel Acuña in the actual solicit, so I'm just going to call him Daniel Acuña, with Escape #1. Shot down, hunted, out of time. The new ongoing two-fisted war epic from Remender and Acuña starts here. And this sounds like something that would be right up Chris Eberle's alley, honestly. It's a savage, full-throttle wartime thriller where survival isn't given, it's taken. Yeah, interesting concept here. Milton Shaw, battle-hardened bomber pilot flying missions over a war-torn world ruled by a ruthless empire. When his plane is shot out of the sky, Milton wakes up behind enemy lines in the smoldering ruins of a city he helped burn. And in less than 24 hours, his own side is dropping the big one to finish the job. Very fascinating here. And it's in a brutal, full-painted world of anthropomorphic animals.
Yeah, that seems like
glorious
a very
bastards with black sad. Yeah, very interesting.
And that artwork gives us an even clearer picture.
Oh, absolutely.
I'm gonna whiff that one. It does look interesting, though.
Weirdly enough, and I mean, you might laugh when I say this, I almost get a SWAT Cats vibe from it.
A much darker SWAT Cats, but yeah.
Well, yeah, but specifically from the artwork, like that's the general style of anthropomorphic animals that we get from this. But yes, the story is very, very different. I'd probably bring up the anime Beastars as a comparable example on the artwork. But
I'm going to throw Tailspin in there too.
There you go. Good way. And Acuña is an excellent choice from this, as his painterly style, I think, lends itself very well to animals. And I don't know if I've ever actually seen him straight up draw an animal comic before. So
does reveal a side of his art I don't think we've seen before.
Indeed. Yep.
So yeah, I think this would appeal not only to Chris but to Shane Kelly as well, because
absolutely
he's been a devoted follower of Black Sad ever since he discovered it years ago.
Absolutely. Well, check it out on page 3 with a whole bunch of preview comics, preview pages immediately afterwards. Meanwhile, continuing the Universal Monsters imprint, those movies that never wound up coalescing into a universe.
The dark universe.
Right.
Yeah.
The dark universe.
Yep. Now have themselves a universe of comics, at least. And great pedigree behind this 4-issue mini. James Tynion IV with artwork by Danny and Brad Simpson, bringing us a 4-issue Invisible Man miniseries featuring Jack Griffin, who's always been invisible to the people around him, at least in his own mind. But when an experimental breakthrough presents a path to make his dream of invisibility a reality, no one, not even the woman he loves, will stand in his way. Interesting concept on the whole Invisible Man thing. Weirdly harkens me back to the Invisible Man sci-fi series from back in like the mid 2000s. I remember.
Wow.
Yeah, I know, right?
I forgot about that one.
Right around the years of G versus E. That. Yeah, very noir esque artwork to go along with it here. Totally digging that. So,
something else Shane might enjoy because it kind of looks like Tony Harris artwork.
Good pull there, Murd. Good pull. Yeah, especially during the Starman years in particular. Since Harris's artwork has definitely changed and evolved a lot over the years. But yeah, this is the same moody colors that he worked with significantly during those Starman era. And then for something quite literally completely different, The Book of Shame, an extra fabulous collection by Zach M. Stanford. Shame! We all feel it every day, all the time, right? Embrace your dark, shameful nature with 192 pages of the best and worst extra fabulous comics of all time, including print-exclusive, never-before-seen comics. This book contains references to many bodily fluids, and it's best to lay down a tarp before reading. Thanks. I'll keep that in mind. Page 13 for that one. Yeah, it's messed up.
I mean, there are slurping sounds.
Oh yeah. I've seen these memeing about the internet for quite some time, and now you get to see yourself a nice collection.
Ooh, here's one of my picks.
Yes.
The Man Who Dreamt the Impossible. A tribute to Jack Kirby by Mario Freitas and art and cover by Lucas Pereira. Jack King is the eldest in the care home, a prodigy of imagination, always telling fascinating stories, but recently suffering from extreme fatigue and lack of motivation. Then comes Mike, a young orderly who will help restore Jack's spirit and his much-loved library, a place fallen into disarray and near abandonment. Certainly not unrelated to the sinister peasants lurking on his shelf. A fictionalized tribute to Jack Kirby, to the men who better took care of his work, and to others who suffered the same creative and editorial constraints throughout their careers. I mean, it's Kirby. I feel like most generations of comic fans know and appreciate Jack Kirby. Maybe not the most recent one, but I also don't know the recent one anymore because I don't talk to them because I'm not in a store anymore. Mm-hmm. But who doesn't love the King?
Oh yeah, absolutely, and this is the type of book that kind of answers that question of if you could sit down with anyone alive or dead for dinner, who would it be? And this is kind of like the Jack Kirby version of that. It looks like. So I love the concept, and this should be very interesting stuff. With many a dot, probably many a Kirby dot. Great artwork to accompany it on the following pages. And boy, oh boy, did they include a lot of them. Onward we go to page 23, Pizza Witch. This looks right up my alley. Sarah Grayley and Steph Perennis bring a very manga in style story. As all Roxy wants is to become the most legendary pizza witch ever. But when her uninspired boss and her well-meaning parents put her dream in jeopardy, she's stuck in a pizza-flavored rut. That is until she's sent off on a quest for a most powerful artifact of pizza magic, the remarkable oregano. With her feisty cat George by her side, Roxy sets off on her broom to lands unknown. Will this be the adventure she's been waiting for, filled with advanced pizza magic, wild challenges, and maybe even a little romance? Or will her dream be squashed like an overripe tomato? I certainly hope not. Don't we all want a little bit of pizza magic in our lives?
Yeah, I mean, RIP to my original pizza shop, Trio Pizza in Brooklyn. It's gone.
Man, that's a shame.
Yeah.
That one was there for a while, man.
It was. That is my original drug dealer.
Artwork almost seems Brian Lee O'Malley inspired, I'd say, more than anything else. And a little bit of also like Star versus the Forces of Evil and those that general ilk of animated series oozing from this in one form or another. So check it out on page 23, and you will probably enjoy. Pizza.
Now we come across a different kind of Kirby tribute. A little less literal, but it comes from Kirby acolyte Tom Scioli of the Myth of Oedipus. And it's a thing called Space Opera Xanadax, Across the Unknown Dimensions of the Galaxy. And it's a 208-page softcover original graphic novel. Enter the strange new universe of space opera Xanadax. A supercharged, cybernetically enhanced, brooding loner known only as Xanadax is on a collision course with the kill-crazy cosmic enemy number 1, an armada of ruthless space pirates, slimy crime bosses, deadly bounty hunters, an oppressive star-spanning empire, and an army of homicidal robots.
That sounds awesome, honestly. And it looks very Battlestar Galactica-esque, and I'm down with that.
Yeah, and Sealy does great work. See my constant praise of Godzilla Monster Piece Theater.
Yep. And obviously, Fantastic Four Grand Design had some high praise behind it as well when that came out. So, yeah, this should be great stuff here on page 29. Also offered again, Godland volumes 1 through 6 if you want more COE in your life. And on we go to the ongoings. Let's see. G.I. Joe issue 10, Baroness versus CoverGirl. Meanwhile, has Cobra Commander and Destro's alliance reached its breaking point? We will
Easy breezy, beautiful.
Indeed. And on that same page, what does Dr. Mindbender have planned for Serpentor? Plus the Joe Recon team versus Blue Ninjas. And nothing is what it seems. Larry Hama still trucking those out. G.I. Joe Real American Hero issue 319 for us there on page 35.
Real quick, the last issue of Golden Rage, Mother Knows Best, which means the trade will be out soon. And that is a book I covered in my Raph Catches Up series of shorts on YouTube, on the Comic Timing YouTube page. So if you heard that, this is the book. And I guess the solicit for the trade will be next month, and I will be trying to catch up to. Actually, no, I think I'm gonna wait for the trade because that's much easier. But the first issue was very good for what it's worth, and I had an interesting it's a sequel to the original Golden Rage, and it had an interesting surprise in there. Let's just say.
Nice. Well, this is the 5th and final issue, as you said, so trade forthcoming. And Murd, we promise he's not treading on your territory there, catching up. But Raph's pretty behind too. He's pretty behind.
Only 7, 8 years.
Well, there you go. It's I pray you never walk the path I'm walking, Raph, because
I prefer my mini Murd status right now.
I like that for you too, Raph.
Yeah.
Rest assured, I've got twice as far to go and then some as you have. So there's however far behind you slip, I'll always be a little further behind you on the trail.
The echo will never overcome the voice.
Yep, and those of you who have not checked out the first episode of Raph's comic catch up, you can do so on Instagram, YouTube, Blue Sky, Facebook. We've posted it pretty much everywhere, and we'll continue to do so. And it'll be 3 minutes or less because that's how long a short has to be on YouTube. So, I'm
gonna remember that.
Nice, fun snippets and catching up with Raph. So good stuff. For that matter, if you haven't subscribed to the YouTube channel, please do so. We are now approaching 160 of you fine folks. So how about that?
Like and subscribe.
Yes, indeed. Also, 5th and final issue of Doug Wagner's I Was a Fashion School Serial Killer, which has a fantastic name and makes me want to check it out for the name alone. So trade definitely incoming for that one as well. Battle Beast issue 5, The Secret Origin of Prince Salaka. And has Battle Beast finally met a worthy challenge? Maybe. Maybe not.
Probably not.
Probably not. Page 39. Robert Kirkman, Invincible Universe. Good stuff. And Mr. Eberly is happy to see Lazarus Fallen continuing with Rucka and Lark, the 3rd issue of the Return of Lazarus.
Did I order Lazarus?
Well, you might have to. And for that matter, Monstrous issue 59. So we're one away from Marjorie Liu's 60th issue of Monstrous. Something to celebrate for sure. And Jeff Lemire's Phantom Road issue 15 as well. That's nominated as Best New Series in the 2024 Eisner Awards, and it's made it to 15 issues. So far, so good for them on that one. I need to catch up on the Rockefellers because I once again love the concept of it, and I'm in a very Fantastic Four mood. So I might have to pick up the first volume of the Rockefellers and catch myself up at some point. Tomasi and Matapool putting out a very future-y, Fantastic Four-y with a little bit of Doctor Who in there for good measure story, and that's always right up my alley. That's on page 43. Really like that Transformers cover there for issue 23. The last hope for the Autobots exists within the matrix of leadership, but will the Decepticons triumph before those answers are found?
No.
No.
That Optimus guy, he's got the touch. Oh, wait, that's Ultra Magnus.
Yes, it is.
Oh, no, we're screwed. No, I love Ultra Magnus, but he is not Optimus Prime.
He's not. He's not.
He does not possess the thing known as the touch.
Nope. But he is Robert Stack.
That's true.
But the mystery is still unsolved, so we don't know. We don't know. What I will say is that there have been rumors going around that apparently there might be a Energon Universe animated series coming soon.
That would be cool.
Yeah, that would be very cool if that is indeed true. So let's hope that is the case, or maybe animated series is, and we get ourselves some G.I. Joe and Transformers action coming. So
Visionaries.
Oh, yes, Visionaries. Yes, that too. It could happen.
Good. I mean, seeds are being planted for the return of Mask, so why the heck not?
Why the heck not, indeed. We finish things out with Void Rivals issue 22, Springer versus Proximus, and what is Skuxoid planning? I always wonder what Skuxoid is planning, and that clearly I'll have to read issue 22 to find out. That's Skuxoid, always planning something.
Always scheming, that Skuxoid.
Mm-hmm. Meanwhile, we have ourselves Codename G.I. Joe Deluxe Edition, Book 2. This collects Scarlet 1 through 5 and Destro 1 through 5 in one giant-ass hardcover. So Dan Waters and Kelly Thompson's miniseries collected in one edition here. And continuing on the reissues of Criminal, this is a new printing of Volume 8 of the Criminal My Heroes Have Always Been Junkies series by Brubaker and Phillips, which was also named the best graphic novel of 2019 back in the day. There on page 49. Also, Tony Fleek's Feral on its third volume. The woods were deadly. The cat lady's house was an unholy nightmare. But Elsie and the Indoor Cat's third chapter sees them face their most hellish, grisly ordeal yet. An abandoned pet supplies superstore. Damn. Cat scratch fever for everybody on page 50. Get the smaller editions of Invincible continuing here with volume 11. Collects issues 60 through 65 of the original Invincible series. While
Conquest.
Yes, Conquest rules. And on that next page, volume 7 of Radiant Black, collecting issues 31 through 36 of that, while Rogue Sun gets a volume 5, with cover coming soon for that one on page 52. And that is that for the Image catalog. And to save resources, I am going to go catalog by catalog, one by one here on opening. And to bring things back to a format that is more familiar to us, Dark Horse. Dark Horse next, because why not? Let's return to the days when Dark Horse was at the front of things. Now they have their own catalog to be all nice and shiny, and that is what we will be covering here next. Starting us off on page 2 of their catalog, a very, very welcome return. Powers 25, issue 1, celebrating the 25th anniversary of the landmark title by Bendis and Oeming. 25 years of Powers. Fantastic. Happy to put out a new that they put out a new mini to celebrate that as well. So fun, dangerous adult look at the world of superheroes through the eyes of special homicide detective Cutter and her brand new partner, the first power to ever make Powers division, Mobius Moon. Under the watchful eyes of legendary captains Dina Pilgrim and Enki Sunrise, the new detectives are running through a minefield of all new dangers. So, brand spanking new Powers action for you all on page 2 of the Dark Horse catalog. Great alternate cover there by David Mack, as well as Mignola for that matter. You're under Dark Horse, you're going to get a Mignola cover. That's the way it works.
Especially if you're Bendis.
Oh, absolutely. Yep. Really like the look of those preview pages as well.
Oh, hot damn.
Yep.
Ooh, the Nocturnals.
I'm very excited to see this group of characters back.
Absolutely, Murd. Yep.
Yeah. This is the work of Mr. Dan Brereton, writer and artist, his own original characters, who debuted a long time ago from, I think, the Malibu Bravura line in the 90s.
Wow.
This miniseries is called The Nocturnals, The Sinister Path. It's a 4-issue mini, and it features Doc Horror and his usual motley crew of mildly macabre agents and warriors against evil, including his own daughter, Eve, alias Halloween Girl. They hang out in Pacific City, which is kind of a twilight cityscape infested with various supernatural dangers, and the Nocturnals are the thin black and orange line separating the innocent mortal inhabitants of Pacific City from these more literal horrors. Yeah, so on this cover we can see Halloween Girl, there's Polychrome standing in between them, and the breakout character kind of off to the left-hand side. It's the the gun-toting zombie known as the Gun Witch, who received its own one-shot or miniseries at one point, I believe.
Nice. Very cool.
Yeah. I know this was a favorite of Jamie D's as well, and I don't think I've ever missed a Nocturnals project.
Excellent.
Whenever Dan Brereton has found time to bring one to us.
Well, the All Hallow Eve anniversary, 31st anniversary of the original Nocturnals, brings forth for us here on page 5. Welcome.
Halloween book that's not coming out Halloween.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Well, I mean, that happens all the time, but still.
Mm-hmm.
And talking about creators that we all love, James Robinson, Phil Hester, The Adventures of Lumen N, issue 1. Man, this, yes. The year is 1901, and our heroine, Lumen, is a precocious 13-year-old with many questions about her life. Why has her father been gone for years? Why must she learn so many languages and fighting techniques? And what's with all the lessons in seafaring? Then an attack on our home by a horde of steampunk assassins delivers the first glimmer of an answer when Lumen's savior reveals himself as her grandfather, the legendary Captain Nemo, one of the greatest characters of Victorian sci-fi literature. A brand new world of steampunk adventure and thrills is about to open up for Lumen as she connects with the grandfather she never knew, while together they take on a cabal of evil masterminds intent on world domination. Yeah, very much in. Very much in for this one. Yep, 4-issue miniseries. Not much of a commitment. Excellent writer, excellent artist. What more can you ask for?
Mm-hmm. Well, a tie-in to the fiction of Jules Verne, and it delivers that too.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. Not to mention the variant covers here. Mark Bucking. Oh, look at that Buckingham variant. Beautiful, beautiful stuff. Oh. Duncan Fegredo. Mm-hmm. Yep.
The Brereton's pretty nice, actually.
Brereton is very, very nice. Yeah. Yep. Well, that's all for us there on page 7 of the Dark Horse catalog. And then this was the cover of the Dark Horse catalog, so I'll mention in passing here. Dan Waters and Owen Gianni bring us Magic the Gathering Untold Stories, Elspeth, number one. If you had told me that this was Princess Leia on the cover and that this was a Star Wars story, I would have believed you. But instead, it's Magic the Gathering. And, you know, for any Magic the Gathering fans, this could be right up your alley. So.
Actually, Elspeth is the sun god's champion from the plane of Theros, and she sacrificed herself and she was also a planeswalker.
Get out.
She sacrificed herself. I mean, I just happen to know the lore of some Magic.
Go, shoot. All right.
Shoot. Well, anyway, guys, thank you for having me. Be sure to check out the YouTube. I'll be posting more shorts and
like and subscribe. Yeah, no, thank you for that, Raph, because I know absolutely zero about Magic the Gathering. So that's much needed. Well, actually, on my part. So thank you very much. 4-issue miniseries available for any of you Magic fans on page 9. This is the one that is a licensed property that I am much more interested in. And I saw a little tease of this back at Toy Fair, and He-Man and the Masters of the Universe, The Sword of Flaws, issue 1, written by Tim Seeley, artwork by our good friend Freddie E. Williams II. And this is made for Freddie. He-Man is made for Freddie. Thank you very much for this one. Like the young boy in me is a happy man.
As is the young boy in me, and I just when I see this artifact that's the MacGuffin in this thing, the Sword of Flaws. I see flaws. I think imperfect duplicate. I'm wondering if perhaps Fakor, the Bizarro He-Man, might show up in this story. So I will be much gratified.
They were so literal and on the nose with their naming back in the day, you know, like Fakor. I mean, come on.
Take almost anything and put an "or" on the end, and you got yourself a He-Man.
And here's my ultimate monster, Disasteron. Go crush everything, Disasteron.
I am the breaker of the worlds. Call me Breakerer.
Breakor.
Love it. This one's also going to be a 4-issue mini, and excellent all variant cover there by Tim Seeley as well. That feels even more retro. So do check that out. Any of you that are Masters of the Universe fans on page 10. Orphan and the Five Beasts, Bath of Blood, written and drawn by James DeCoe, or it's DeCoe if I remember correctly. This is a take on the Shaw Brothers Kung Fu classic. Another 4-issue mini here. Orphan Mo is back after having dispatched 2 of the 5 beasts tasked to her by her late master. The hunt begins for the 3rd. But Mo isn't the only one following the trail, as a whole new cast of eccentric and dangerous players arrive to join the fray. Lovingly rendered here. And this looks like it's going to be some really kinetic kung fu action for any of you looking for that. You are in the right place here on page 11.
I do love Stakko.
Well, there you go. If you love Stakko, then there you go. Always happy to see Dark Horse doing any sort of Star Wars. We have ourselves Tales from the Nightlands, Kevin Scott and Sue Lee covering this one. This Enter the Nightlander, a Star Wars boogeyman that seeks to present a living host and bring chaos to the galaxy. Brand new Star Wars character designed by legendary artist Ewan McCraig in this 3-issue series on page 12. Star Wars Tales from the Nightlands, issue 1.
3-issue miniseries.
Yep. Not much commitment there, and it looks like it's going to be creepy and crawly.
Yep. Unfortunately, it does seem that Dark Horse is paying a little additional price for the privilege of giving us a Star Wars comic, because they're putting a $5.99 price tag on this 32-page comic.
Good point.
Probably
license ain't cheap.
Yep.
Gotta give the Disney Devil their due.
Yep. Well, a reminder that issue 2 of Archie versus Minor Threats is out this month as well. on page 13 there, as we cross over Minor Threats with the Archie world. Written by Patton Oswalt, with co-writing by Jordan Bloom, and also Timmy Heeg, along with artwork by Scott Kobush. So 4-issue miniseries, second one out this month. And Kelly Sue DeConnick's FML also in its 7th issue on page 14. Issue 2 of Quick Stops Volume 3, Kevin Smith going back to the Quick Stops well. This one's also going to be a 4-issue mini, so we're halfway there. This one pens a touching tribute to friend, collaborator, early architect of the Acuñaverse, and the reason that Mallrats exists, the incomparable Shannon Doherty. So, well worth checking out for any of you who are fans of Mallrats or the Acuñaverse in general. So this is going to be a nice, touching, quick stop, to say the least. Page 16 for that. Hyperspace Stories Tides of Terror is still $4.99 for 32 pages. So not every Star Wars story is going that route, at least. That's on page 17 there. This is back in print. And I think I remember this back when it was around, but with a name like Brooklyn Dreams, it has to be mentioned by me.
Sure.
What do you mean?
Hey, forget about it.
Forget about it.
J.M. DeMatteis, Glenn Barr, Vincent Carl Santini wants to tell you a story about his senior year in high school, but memory is a tricky thing. That one story becomes a hilarious and occasionally harrowing journey through all of Santini's childhood, growing up in the 60s and 70s in Brooklyn. DeMatteis and Glenn Barr's Brooklyn Dreams is a nostalgic visit to a very specific time and place, as well as a universal search for hope and meaning. And I think I'm going to be adding this to the list of books for me to pick up next time I see a sale. So Brooklyn Dreams 100% seems right up my alley. It's going to be available on October 14th, so this is an early solicitation here.
Well, there's another classic.
Yep, Jim Starlin's Dreadstar.
Dreadstar.
Is this a Starlin that you've picked up before, Murd?
I don't think I've read much Dreadstar.
Okay.
And this is 500 pages of it right there.
Indeed, for only $40, which is not too shabby for
Not terrible
for a big amount of pages like that.
Remastered and collected from the very beginning in this, the first of 3 definitive tomes.
Excellent. Yep. Old school Starlin action, writing and drawing. Page 19 for that. Now, we always got to be supporting Norton, and I didn't know that this existed. So on page 20, Joe Bob Goes to the Drive-In. Written by Joe Bob Briggs and artwork by Mr. Norton himself. This brand new updated art book sized hardcover edition of the long out of print collected by cult film host Joe Bob Briggs features new writing, movie reviews, and fan letters not seen in over 40 years, plus new artwork by Mr. Norton himself and an introduction by Stephen King. So this is a collection of wisecracking takes on drive-in movies and redneck life, which is finally back in print with supporting artwork by Mr. Norton himself. Very interesting.
Yeah. I knew I'd heard that name before. I think he used to host Monster Vision on TNT like 30 years ago.
Yeah, I think you might be right about that, yeah. Yep. Very interesting. So, page 20, support that Norton, and support drive-ins for that matter. There aren't a lot of them left.
No.
Here.
Page 20. James Tinian IV also brings us Let This One Be a Devil on page 22 here.
Yes, a Jersey Devil to be specific.
Indeed. Yep. This collects Let This One Be a Devil issues 1 through 4 as we go into the myth of the Jersey Devil and everything that comes behind it. Is it mythical? Yes, it is. But, still, in this it's not.
It's a comic book.
Exactly. Page 22 for that. And speaking of Mr. Oswalt, from the world of minor threats, welcome to Twilight, Volume 1. Co-written by Bendis, Fraction, Simone, Duggan, Ha. These are all side stories.
That's an all-star team.
You damn Skippy, man. Yep. Artwork by Gene Ha, Mike Allred, Sue Lee, Mark Torres, and more. Whole bunch of minor threats side stories by some of the best in the business.
I mean, Moore's done so much stuff.
Yeah.
I've seen Moore in a bunch of different books, man. It's one of the hardest working people in comics.
And more. Oh, yes.
Mhm.
Yes, absolutely. Yep. I hate you. Page 23.
My pleasure.
And then if you want to see Mark Miller's take on the Vatican City, you can do that on the next page, page 24. All right, moving on.
Yep, there's vampires there.
Yes, exactly. Speaking of scary things, Harrow County. Cullen Bunn and Tyler Crook continuing their compendium of Harrow County on page 25. So you get a whole lot of Harrow County in one volume here, the entirety of it. The dark Southern Gothic fairy tale by Cullen Bunn and Tyler Crook, along with all extras from every library edition, crammed into one 1,080-page tome here for $60.
That's gigantic.
Yep. All there for you on page 25. All right. And seeing if there's anything on the bottom here. Who are the Power Pals? Dwayne Murray and Ahmed Rafat. A buddy comedy graphic novel about fame, friendship, and just how long you're willing to fake it till you make it. This is about washed-up actors Derek and Alex, who've been best friends since playing teen superheroes, Swallow and Buzzard in the 90s. Wait, you never heard of it? Don't worry, you're not alone. It was canceled after 3 episodes. And now they're fighting crime. Who are the Power Pals? This collects the 4-issue miniseries into one trade, available on page 32. Oh, we get the manga here too. Oh yeah, why not? Makes sense. But there's not a lot in it for that. All right. So that now we be done with that, and we'll move ourselves over to Boom real quick. Boom now out of Penguin Random House, hence their own catalog, but at least they have a catalog, so you don't have to flip through that absolutely horrible Penguin Random House catalog to try to figure stuff out. So they've at least done us that pleasure. And yes, dude, indeed, Mighty Morphin Power Rangers Teenage Ninja Turtles 3 by Ryan Parrott and Vincenzo Federici. A Ranger-packed month this month begins here on the second page of the catalog. With Rita and Krang defeated, the bad guys aren't cutting the Rangers and Turtles no slack. Lord Zed and Shredder have a new plan to take down the radical teen heroes. If they don't act carefully, they may just succeed. Third miniseries pairing up these wild, crazy, radical, excellent, bodacious teams into one.
Reaganomics. Although I gotta admit, all 3 of them probably surpassed the Power Rangers Ninja Turtles Next Mutation crossover.
Oh God, no.
Yeah.
That never happened, Raph. That never.
What didn't happen? I'm sorry. What did you say?
Exactly. Thank you.
Okay.
God, those turtle suits were so terrible.
The last 15 seconds just like are out of my brain for some reason. I don't know what happened there.
So bad. Page 4 of this, Mighty Morphin Power Rangers Rita's Rewind. Zoe Tennell with illustrations by Tango. Excellent cover there. Incentive cover by Jack Lawrence. There's a brand new tie-in to the hit video game. There's a brand new beat-em-up called Rita's Rewind, and this basically ties into that. Have not picked up Rita's Rewind yet, but I would like to play it at some point because it looks like good old-fashioned 90s beat-em-up fun in one Power Rangers package. So tie-in comic here for you on page 4. Further along, I really need to check out Power Rangers Prime. I think the first couple of issues are available from that that app that I was telling you about, but they may not be there anymore because Boom is no longer in there. So I'll figure out a way to read it one way or the other. Melissa Flores and Michael YG bring us Power Rangers Prime issue 9 on page 7 of their catalog. And the VR Troopers Power Rangers Flip Book Facsimile Edition, number 1, has an amazing cover by Ted Smith that brings me back to my youth in every single way. Absolutely excellent right here.
All I can say is Troopers 3 Go virtual reality.
And look at the other cover to go along with it. My God. Beautiful stuff. Absolutely beautiful. Good times.
The only thing missing is a foil cover.
Which I'm sure that they probably have for the regular VR Trooper series. So, and that's available there on page 10 of their catalog. Blink and you'll miss it. Blink and you'll miss it. Number 1. Ethan S. Parker and Griffin Sheridan. Look, they wouldn't name it that if they didn't want us to make fun of it, but that's beside the point. Or tease it in one way or the other. Melody Nelson and Jesse Harmon fell in love long ago in the tiny town of Perennial Harbor. And in the years since Jesse left that place behind, it has become a living nightmare. Jesse can't sleep knowing that her best friend is still trapped there, but racing back to save her will prove futile. The very fabric of reality has begun to unravel around Melody, sending her further backward in time with every passing day. Will this journey through the past hold the secret to Melody's terrible curse, or merely serve as a eulogy before she disappears from existence entirely? So, kind of Quantum Leap-esque action happening in Blink and You'll Miss It, mixed with Back to the Future in the whole, my family is disappearing from this photo because that's how time travel works. Page 12, Blink and You'll Miss It. Very interesting artwork on the following pages of that. Lush colors, dark, dreary. Cool character designs go along with it, including a very interesting hairless cat. By the way, I'm guessing on these page numbers because they forgot to put them in. There's literally a box for them right here, and they did not put them in. So, Penguin Random House. All right.
They'll learn. They're good at this.
They're getting there. They're getting there. Something is killing the. I'm sorry. Something is killing the children. Issue 43, 43rd issue of Something is Killing the Children. Issue on page 20 there. So we're quickly approaching the 50th issue of that series. R.L. Stein's The Graveyard Club gets both a softcover and a hardcover. Paid $20 for the softcover, $25 for the hardcover, 160 pages worth of content here. Collects the Graveyard Club Revenge Game and the Graveyard Club Fresh Blood into one softcover or hardcover, illustrated by Carola Borelli. And hopefully it is better than the most recent Fear Street movie, which was complete and utter trash, unfortunately. Ones before that are great. Last one, nah. Bad stuff. Got more Dune action. Edge of a Crysknife. Rage of Shai Hulud by Brian Herbert and Kevin J. Anderson. Further exploring the Dune universe, which is very much continuing to be explored in the movie world right now. If you had told me that Juan Samu cover was by John Romita Jr., I would have believed it, but it is not. It is by someone by the name of Juan Samu. It's very much Romita Jr. eyes and face right there.
Mm-hmm.
Ah, yes.
Oh,
this brings back warm memories here. Page whatever. It's Heroes Squared, the complete collection, published on the occasion of the 20th anniversary of this series. Brought to you by the tandem of J.M. DeMatteis and the late, great Keith Giffen, art by Joe Abraham, Nathan Watson, and creator almost as prolific as and more Various.
Yes.
Yes, indeed.
Those two have a friendly rivalry, if I understand it.
They do. And this collects pretty much all of it, which makes me happy.
Yep. Put out by Boom back in its infancy, when they were just getting started, when I was just kind of taking my first steps out of being largely a Marvel DC consumer and sampling from a much broader range of publishers, in part being physically dragged to it by my involvement in Comic Geek Speak, but this is one of the first things that we were talking about in those days, and deservedly so. It's the story of a lovable 20-something slacker whose life is upended by the appearance of a parallel universe doppelganger of himself who is a superhero. And this contains not only all the Heroes Squared material, but also spin-offs from the Justice League analog to which this guy's superhero doppelganger belonged, the Planetary Brigade. And those Planetary Brigade issues have been on my shopping list for quite some time. There aren't very many copies of them out there to be found, so I might just say forget it and just buy this trade. It seems like the easiest thing to do.
Yeah,
it's
absolutely.
only $20.
Yeah, absolutely. And 464 pages for $20. You're getting, as you said, the Hero Squared Extra Special One spot, Hero Squared one through 3, the second series, issues 1 through 6, then Love and Death 1 through 3, Planetary Brigade 1 and 2, and Planetary Brigade Origins 1 through 3. All in this one collection here on page, we'll just say 29 because it's the 29th of this PDF. So... Yep. Good to see this back. I have very fond memories of this as well. I remember reading the first couple of issues of that when it first came out back in the day. So, Hero Squared by Giffen and DeMatteis, one of the most legendary teams in all of comics.
I may still have an early trade somewhere.
I wouldn't be surprised if you do.
God, I have so much.
I did, but I think I culled it from my collection a couple of years ago, if I remember right. Unless it's hiding at my mom's somewhere. So
I'm just going to reiterate.
And one last thing here from Doom: the Red Mother Complete Collection by Jeremy Hahn and Danny Luckart. I remember seeing this back in a little while ago. This is celebrate 20 years of Boom with this critically acclaimed horror masterpiece collected in its entirety for the very first time. All 12 issues of the Red Mother in one collection here. The last thing Daisy saw was her boyfriend disappearing into darkness. The first thing Daisy saw with her new prosthetic eye was red. And she's seeing more and more. Yeah, that's scary. The Red Mother on page 30 once again collects all 12 issues of the Red Mother into one collection. You know, one more. The Jim Henson Presents softcover and hardcover. This collects all 4 issues of that Jim Henson Presents anthology, which includes the worlds of Labyrinth, Dark Crystal, Storyteller, Fraggle Rock, and Farscape.
Gelfling.
Still very glad that they also included Farscape in there, along with the other Jim Henson related works. So very happy about that. Great cover on that final page of the catalog. All right, let's say we jump over to DC. DC starts itself off with Batman 163, the finale of Hattush Part 1. Yeah. Still haven't read more than that first issue because didn't really like it. But
I think I read the second one and it was not great.
It's I think I already put it this way. It kind of feels like someone pretending to be Jeff Loeb and Jim Lee, and not necessarily Jeff Loeb and Jim Lee. Like people aping their styles to try to make it as much as a continuation of Hush as possible, but it's actually them. So that says a lot about the quality, unfortunately. Sometimes you can't go home again, and I think Hattush is proving that. But at least, it's making way for other Batman stories while they work on Part 2. So this is the conclusion of that in Batman 163 here on page 1. Then we get the origin of Absolute Bane on the next page, Absolute Batman issue 11. The origin of the muscle-bound behemoth and how did he arrive in Gotham. I think it's going to be a little bit different than his old origin, quite frankly. And then Absolute Superman number 10. We work further with the Lazarus Corps and the fact that Ra's al Ghul is a Superman villain in the Absolute universe makes it very, very interesting, to say the least.
Mm-hmm.
Yep. Really enjoying what I've read so far of it, and we have more to tell here with Absolute Superman issue 10 on page 3. Oh, wow.
Ooh.
What a cover. Hayden Sherman is quickly becoming one of my favorite artists. It's just like out of nowhere, but man, it's Miller inspired in all the right ways.
I was just gonna say it's very like Miller's, but it's also like not like that overly bulky, blocky Miller style.
Yep. with a very different Wonder Woman story that still feels like Wonder Woman in all the key aspects. Listen to our DC Absolute episode that we recently put out for further information on it. But yeah, issue 11. Can't wait to read more of this. Kelly Thompson's absolutely knocking it out of the park with a Wonder Woman that's literally from hell, but still is Wonder Woman at its core. On page 4.
Absolutely.
Yep. Absolute Green Lantern. Speaking of that, let's stop saying absolutely, but absolutely.
Sure.
Easier said than done, perhaps.
Totally. Absolute Green Lantern issue 5. Al Ewing, Janoy Lindsay. In this reality, Hal Jordan's the Black Hand, and shit's going down, to say the least. In a very, very different setup for the Green Lanterns, and really looking forward to where this arc is going to conclude, as we're definitely getting to the conclusion of the first story arc here, as Joe, our main Green Lantern, squares off against Hal Jordan. Issue 5 of that on page 5. And Absolute Flash, number 6. Absolute Flash continues to be a lot of fun. In a lot of ways, Murd, the Flash of the Absolute Universe is kind of Incredible Hulk inspired in a lot of ways, as it's Wally West being chased by the government and their goons. And most of the rogues are agents of said government. Issue 6 of that continues the story, and I'm really enjoying it.
Is that Booster Flash?
No.
Or is that just a Booster Gold image?
No. Where?
The second and the fourth one. The symbol doesn't.
No, that's the Flash. Yeah.
Okay.
The Flash symbol has changed significantly.
Well, no, the coloring, it's all yellow, and his it's not red. Like
that's true.
It looks black and yellow as opposed to red and black.
Yeah. It's definitely Flash though. Yep.
Okay.
Page 6 there. And Absolute Martian Manhunter is going to be going on a little bit of a hiatus to try to catch up and be ready for its next story arc. So this is as of now, the 6th issue of Absolute Martian Manhunter, and then there'll be a couple-month break, and then we'll come back with more. So Denise Camp and Javier Rodriguez putting out definitely the most unique of the Absolute line on page 7. Is he actually Martian Manhunter? Is it all in his head? Well, continue to read, and you will find out a lot more than I have here on page 7.
Ultimately.
Better. Kyle Higgins and Matt Groom bring us Immortal Legend Batman on page 8. With artwork by Erica D'Urso and that guy who draws everything, Dan Mora.
It sure feels that way, doesn't it?
It really does. It really does.
Gets around.
Yep. This is a very anime and manga inspired version of Batman. Humanity broke the barrier between our universe and our universe's shadow. From the void came horrific apparitions that craved nothing but destruction. But from this terror, a legend was born. A warrior who found a way to access the energy that binds our universe and the shadow universe, transforming him into a cosmic dark knight. The immortal legend was named Batman. He fought to keep us safe, but then one day abandoned the war, though he didn't disappear entirely. Now they say he hunts a rogue gallery of monsters. Born from the shadows, he is Immortal Legend Batman Super Hyper Mega Nitro number 1.
You know, this reminds me of the Tekka Man adaptation from the 90s, Techno Man.
Oh my god. Wow.
I have the theme song just running through my head right now.
Love it. Love it. Yeah. If you want an anime inspired Batman, this is going to be right up your alley. And again, it's Higgins, so like, come on. But Immortal Legend Batman number 1 here on page 8. Not your daddy's Batman, but that artwork is, and it's an Elseworlds, so enough said.
I'm getting that in trade for sure.
And here we go.
Oh yes, this one is a very interesting project. Mm-hmm. Something I certainly didn't see coming. All right, we've got the creators of the Image Comics horror anthology Ice Cream Man. W. Martin Prince and Martín Morazzo. I'm not even a huge horror fan, but I've given quite a bit of praise to Ice Cream Man over the years for being some of the most innovative and internally various horror narratives being put into comics these days. This is a very creative team indeed. And somehow they're giving us a Superman story. I mean, it's not the first character I would expect these guys to tackle in the DC universe, but yeah, it's Superman, the Kryptonite Spectrum, #1 of a 5-issue miniseries, and it's about what the Man of Steel must undergo as he ventures into deep space to voluntarily expose himself to 4 new varieties of kryptonite in the name of science, with a little lab assistance from from Batman, that is, just to find out what these new kryptonites will do to him before his enemies, show him the hard way. And I have a great deal of respect for this creative team, and I love the many multiply and amusingly hued isotopes of kryptonite out there. Mm-hmm. And I'm interested to see which new, well, first of all, what colors these new isotopes will be, and what twisted effects W. Maxwell Prince is going to come up with to have on Superman. The only thing I don't like about this project is that it's $5.99 for a 32-page comic, and I don't see a good reason for that. So I think I'm going to be trade waiting for this, just as Raph's going to be trade waiting for Immortal Legend Batman.
Fair enough. Well, yeah, this does seem really cool. I hope that there's a white kryptonite that the only thing that it does is just turn Superman's hair white. That's it. Like that. No other features whatsoever. That's literally all it does. But yeah, Superman, the Kryptonite Spectrum, issue 1 of 5, available for you here on page 10. And artwork on the next page, mighty fine, if I do say so myself. And then, long live the Legion, Raph.
Oh, yeah.
Superman issue 29, Joshua Williamson, Dan Mora, Superman and an impossible ally search the future for the lost legion of superheroes. What happened to it, and can it help in the battle against Darkseid's absolute legion?
Here we go. We're building it into the big crossover.
Absolutely. I mean, surely.
MC Thule.
What?
Nice. Nicely done.
It was the first one I could think of.
No. That was good. That was good. Epically. Yeah. So on page 12 there, Superman issue 29, and then Action Comics 1089, Mark Waid and Skylar Partridge. Now that Superboy has made his Metropolis debut, a hero from the past reemerges to take him down. One who sees him as a reckless hindrance to human progress and a threat for all. For the first time, the Boy of Steel faces off against an opponent with powers beyond his.
Well,
I got the new one variant.
That might be a bit of a stretch.
Yep.
But now, are we recognizing this hero from the past on the cover?
I am not personally, so I leave that to you, Murd.
What's that bright streaking thing just above his head?
Oh, is it Starman?
No, that's not what I'm thinking.
Strange.
You're in the right genre, Raph.
Oh, Comet.
Yes.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Captain Comet to you.
Yes.
Captain Comet.
Yes.
Right.
Now, Grant Morrison, back in the early days of the New 52, established kind of a connection between Captain Comet and the incipient Superman. Mm-hmm. And I think we can trust Mark Waid to pick up on that thread and run with it here in his continuing series of stories of Superboy, the adventures of Superman when he was a boy in whatever version of DC reality we're in right now.
Yep.
And Mark Waid's been a fan of Adam Blake for quite a long time. I think 20 or so years ago, he was quoted as saying he'd love to do a monthly Captain Comet series. Mm-hmm. So, he's going to be putting his heart and soul into this particular story.
Yep. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Well, this looks great. As we record this, we're, I think, a day away from the new history of the DC Universe issue 1 hitting stands. So, yeah, Mark Waid, baby. Mark Waid. all in every single way. Meanwhile, on that very same page 13, Night of the Superman Bat. Thanks, Dan Slott. Thank you very much. Thank you.
I read the first issue, and I'll talk about it in my next Raph Catches Up.
Excellent.
Positive things to say, Raph?
Yes, it's a very interesting. The first issue dropped a very, very powerful premise, and I don't know how they're gonna write themselves out of that one, but it was very good.
Okay. And the fourth issue of Supergirl, Girls Night Out, with a nice old school style cover here with Leslie Lar, Lena Luthor, and question mark on the cover.
Also an old Bronze Age Supergirl opponent, Decay. Yes, this Sophie Campbell, who both writes and draws this issue apparently, she knows her Supergirl lore pretty well. I've been impressed with a couple of issues I've seen of this series so far.
Excellent.
Also noted Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles artist.
There you go.
I love her work. She did not the current, but the previous series, obviously.
And the third issue of the Crypto, The Last Dog of Krypton miniseries is solicited here as well. Once again, supporting Norton with artwork by Ryan North. I've seen pages from the first issue of this, and I love how they do dialogue. They fade it out until it's full bold lettering for anything that the dog would understand. Perfect. Absolutely perfect.
Reminds me of the old Gary Larson Far Side strip. What we say to dogs. Bad girl Ginger, why did you dig through the trash? What they hear. Blah, 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 blah. Ginger. Blah, 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 blah. Ginger.
That's about right. Right. Yep. Crypto is in a similar fashion. Once again, they're on page 14. Oh, wow.
Mouseman knows.
Apparently, Mouseman knows. I'm not sure how I figured that out, but Mouseman knows. Yeah. I don't know who Mouseman is.
He is an obscure 1950s Wonder Woman villain whom Tom King has given the Kite Man treatment.
Thank you.
And I am totally there for it, I gotta say.
All right, good. Wonder Woman's yet another series I gotta catch my ass up on, so nicely done there, Tom, digging into the well as you tend to do. Available there on page 15. And Trinity, Daughter of Wonder Woman, number 3. Big Donna Troy energy there with that cover. Yep. Perfect send-off. Once again, page 16 for that. Justice League Unlimited, number 10. The Quantum Quorum of Time Traveler Refugees has issued its warning to the Justice League apocalypse is coming. But just as Jor-El's cries fell on a deaf ears of Krypton, will the people of Earth be prepared to take drastic steps to save their world? It all comes to a head as the chaos continues, and one Uyghur is put to the ultimate test. Wade and Morrow.
I got the Trinity cover.
Nice. Trinity cover.
The Batgirl, Supergirl, and is that Trinity? Or is that another Wonder character that I can't really see it very well.
I think you're right about that being Trinity, yeah.
Okay.
Yep. Nicely done there. Page 17. And Justice League versus Godzilla versus Kong 2, issue 3 on the stands, because we needed to. We did. We needed to.
The first one did pretty well, apparently. I didn't read it, but apparently it's got rave reviews.
Fair enough. Now this is interesting. Page 19, Justice League Red, Saladin Ahmed and Clayton Henry. Great team.
And it kind of looks like they're going back to the Justice League Task Force / Secret Defenders concept here. The Red is for Red Tornado. He's kind of the central, the CPU of the Justice League computer system these days, it seems. And he is the one who is selecting and, if necessary, blackmailing whatever superpowered individuals he feels he needs for certain covert missions. And it looks like the team is going to vary from mission to mission and from story arc to story arc. Kind of like what happened with the JLTF series, occasionally written by Peter David and occasionally written by Christopher Priest back in the 90s.
Also, you had me at Deadman. Enough said. You put Deadman in a story, and I'm immediately interested. And this is exactly what we're getting here with the first story arc of Justice League Red. I also like how And I noticed probably is not the design choice of Clayton Henry. It's probably from the Power Girl series that's out right now. But I like that if they're going to give her the boob window, they've at least made it the shape of a Superman emblem now. So like that at least makes a little bit more sense than just random boob window.
Indeed it does.
Page 19, Justice League Red #1.
Oh, when we don't get any further than the next page, when we see another interesting team-up story. The title's pretty on the nose. Cheetah and Cheshire rob the Justice League, #1. And this is written by Greg Rucka, with art by Nicola Scott.
Oof. Wow.
One of the greatest artists to grace the Birds of Prey, a thematically related series. And this is, as the title implies, two major, vaguely feline-themed supervillains going on a pretty daring heist where they're literally going to rob the Justice League. And
like you do, you know?
Yeah, it's if Greg Rucka says you do it, you do. And where did I see this here? Okay, they assemble a team of misfits and oddballs to pull off this. So there's going to be a team. There are going to be other probably deep-cut DC characters being selected to work with Cheetah and Cheshire to pull this thing off. So I'm looking forward to seeing which obscurities Rucka pulls out of his hat here.
I feel like the subtitle of this should have been "You Son of a Bitch, I'm In." Love me a good heist story. Damn, that artwork is beautiful. I'm sure it's going to look even better once there's colors, but I'm glad we get to see some black and white Nicola Scott right here in the preview pages. Excellent stuff. And we reach the 1,100th issue of Detective Comics. Wow. Tom Taylor and Mikhail Janin join forces once again to tell a heartfelt and action-packed story of Batman rescuing a young boy's best friend. We also get Greg Rucka and Alvaro Martinez Bueno team up for a tale that asks the question, was Gotham better off before Batman? And Mariko Tamaki reunites with Detective Comics collaborator Amanse Nuholapan for a yarn that explores Bruce Wayne's world outside of the cowl and how his double life as Batman intersects with his alter ego's actions. Then finishing up with Dan Waters and Bill Sienkiewicz, bringing a story that illustrates just how similar Batman's motivations are to the criminals he has sworn to fight and how he fights against his own darkness. Bill Sienkiewicz, enough said.
For sure.
Gotta love it. Gotta love it. And you gotta bring your all-stars in on an 1100th issue of Detective Comics, and they most definitely have done that.
Yep, and it's a competitively priced anniversary issue, too, at $4.99 for 56 pages.
Not bad at all.
Rare to see that kind of price point.
Oh, yeah.
I got to shout out Nightwing #129 at the top of page 23 there. Nightwing must overcome the creature that has taken over Titan's Tower and rescue his allies from its fifth-dimensional prison. So I'd say we got some imps running around here. And check out that cover. In the background, behind Nightwing, we have an image of the original Nightwing, legendary hero of the Bottle City of Kandor.
That's right.
Nice. Yeah, that's going to be good stuff. That's going to be good stuff indeed. In World's Finest this month, a plague threatens Bizarro World as Escape from Bizarro World continues.
Out! That am what me say.
Horribly done.
Thank you.
Mark Waid, Adrian Gutierrez, page 24. Yes, and thank you. We get a oversized issue of Catwoman. It's the 78th issue of Catwoman. The contract on Catwoman's life comes to a close. And oversized, I mean, you would think that they would be meaning that like this might be the last issue of Catwoman, but no, they don't say anything about it being that. It's just the last issue of this particular story arc here by Torin Grombeck and Danilo Beirut. So if you've been following this story, it concludes here with a double on page 78. Sorry, page 25, issue 78. Haha. Aquaman issue 8. The full of rage and revenge, Aquaman is determined to end Dagon and free the Blue in a bloody battle that will change the king of the ocean forever. Jeremy Adams and John Timms continue their critically acclaimed Aquaman run here with the 8th issue of that on page 27. And the Starbreaker supremacy rages on in Green Lantern number 26. This is part 3 of the Starbreaker supremacy with some damn cool looking
Kyle's riding Ion.
Oh yeah. Yep. Gotta love it. With a sword in his hand that's very Cloud-esque. Absolutely perfect there. And
is that Guy or is that Sinestro on Parallax? I can't really see that well.
It's hard to tell from here. It may very well be Guy, because I know Guy has been a part of the story, so it is very possible.
And that is some Star Sapphire. Hopefully not Carol Ferris. She suffered enough writing Predator in the background.
Carol's been a part of the overall story in Green Lantern, but in a good way, not in a bad way. So hopefully she continues to be, on the side of good. I mean, I know she's been even palling around with the Justice League lately, so she's all right. She's all right for now. Hopefully, no more heartbreak, but yes.
And I do kind of love that the Starbreakers are involved in all this, because that's a Silver Age Justice League villain on the cosmic scale that was kind of created as something of a joke, but finally getting their due here in the cosmic scheme of things.
Nice.
Thank you, Jeremy Adams, for seeing the potential.
It also sounds really good when you scream it, Starbreaker! Man. Mr. Terrific Year 1, Issue 4. The 4th of 6 of the origin story of Mr. Terrific here on page 30. And, wow, Bruno Redondo takes center stage in a new line of artist spotlight variants that make me want to spend money that I'm not going to spend. But every single one of these are gorgeous on page 30.
I think I got the Superman 20... What? Let me see which one I got for the Superman.
Just
29.
the use of empty space has always been Redondo's strongest, and yeah, that's such a key image of Superman there.
I don't think I got it. I think I got another cover.
All right, no worries.
No, I got it. This is the one I got. We're good. We're safe.
There you go.
All right.
We are up to issue 3 of the new history of the DC Universe. Following the cataclysmic events of Crisis on Infinite Earths, the DC Universe is forever changed. Torches are passed as legacy heroes like Wally West embrace the mantles of their predecessor. Heroes like Hal Jordan are tempted by darkness, and the Justice League faces formidable new threats such as Doomsday, Black Hand, and Superboy Prime. Narrator Barry Allen recaps these events through his return, ending with the cataclysmic flashpoint. So we are going a lot of DC history here in one book, but
basically our lifetimes up until New 52.
Pretty much, yeah. Yep.
I mean,
all post-crisis action.
Yep. I haven't read the first issue, but if Barry Allen is the narrator, every issue has to start with "My name is Barry Allen, and I'm the fastest man alive."
No, we heard that enough. Okay?
Yeah,
you're gonna hear it one more time. That's true too. It was Wally's thing before the TV show.
Mm-hmm.
That is very true. Yep. But man, this is going to be so good. And I was reminded by Chris Naudis that we are approaching a anniversary mark of Crisis on Infinite Earths next year, right?
The 40 years.
Wow.
1986.
Yep, I haven't forgotten. Neither has Tomorrow's Publishing. They've got a couple of things planned.
Excellent. All right. Robin and Batman, Jason Todd, issue 3. Jeff Lemire and Dustin Nguyen rewriting the origin of Jason Todd, essentially, on page 34. And still looks great there, as does Batman and Robin, year 1, issue 10, with Wade Insomni. Like, come on, please. And we get issue 9 of the Long Halloween, the last Halloween, with Mr. Somni on the artwork chores. So, revolving artists continue, and a great artist choice for issue 9 there. Ha! Okay. Resurrection Man, Quantum Karma, issue 5. Guest starring Christopher Chance, the Human Target.
Ooh.
Been a while. Been a while indeed. Will Christopher Chance be able to save our hero from himself? Find out in Resurrection Man, Quantum Karma, issue 5. Really looking forward to reading this whole miniseries when it's all wrapped up, as I'm a huge Resurrection Man fan. Still one of my favorite issues of DC 1 Million was the Resurrection Man issue.
That was a good one.
Yep. Page 38 of that. You get some facsimiles here. We get the facsimile of Detective Comics 880 with that absolutely perfect jock cover with the Joker there.
That was Snyder's first Batman run, if I remember right.
Yes, indeed. Yep.
Was that Black Mirror? Is that what that was?
I believe you're right. Yes.
It's been a while.
Yep. I think that was the name of the arc, and that was pre New 52.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
And a facsimile of Batman Harley Quinn #1 with a very famous Alex Ross cover there by Paul Dini himself, page 40 again. And the Batman 163 giant size special edition. Experience the finale of Batman Hattush Part 1 in giant artboard size. Will Batman survive Hush's revenge when his only allies are his greatest enemies?
Probably.
Yeah, more than likely. Page 41. Ooh. Facsimile edition of issue 23 of Action Comics.
The first appearance of Mr. Luthor.
Mm-hmm. Mr. Luthor himself.
Mm-hmm. The Earth 2 version, anyway.
Right, yeah.
Doesn't bear much resemblance to the Luthor we know by now, but it's still interesting to see his beginnings.
How about this? Supergirl Universe End. Written by Mariko Tamaki. Art by Skylar Partridge. This collects the Supergirl Special #1 and backups from Action Comics 1071 to 1081. This was a really critically acclaimed backup from those Action Comics issues, and now this is all collected into one single 176-page book here. So,
and I will get to them eventually.
Indeed. Mariko Tamaki. And Teen Titans Together, all ages, well, teen-oriented graphic novel series by Cami Garcia and Gabrielle Piccolo, page 44. And then we get Little Batman Month 1. Yay. Oh man, I love that Christmas movie that's available on Amazon Prime with Little Batman, and Morgan Evans and John Mickle bring us the 4-issue Little Batman Month 1 as a full graphic novel on page 45. Volume 4 of Shazam collected for everybody here on page 46. Parentheses Captain Marvel, end parentheses. And the challenge there. Oh, well done, Murd. Well done. Excellent. And the trade paperback of Cantwell's Challengers of the Unknown is also available this month. Very much looking forward to checking that one out in full. Great artwork by Sean Isaacs and Amanci Nuhelpan and Jorge Fornes. Once again, page 47 for that. And Al Ewing and Steve Lieber's Metamorpho the Element Man, also available in full. That I'm definitely looking forward to reading.
Yep. And the 6-issue Two-Face miniseries by Christian Ward and Fabio Veras.
Yes, indeed.
Both offbeat recent publications from DC, both things that I recommend.
Yep.
Ooh.
Now this page is extra important. Page 49. All 3 things on this featuring our creators that have unfortunately passed. So DC Finest, Supergirl Body and Soul, Peter David, artwork by Gary Frank, Leonard Kirk, Cam Smith, and others. This collects Showcase 96, issue 8, Supergirl 1 through 18, Supergirl Annual 1 and 2, and Supergirl Plus #1, the beginnings of Peter David's Supergirl run, which was an excellent run of Supergirl.
Yeah, very well written
first
by
run.
Mr. David, but it will be a little confusing for people who only think of Supergirl as Superman's cousin.
That's
right.
This came out during the period when that was taboo, and they had to come up with some other justification for a Supergirl to be around, because the editorial mandate was Superman is the only son of Krypton. Yep. So we ended up with Supergirl, who was this shape-shifting blob of protoplasm based on the genetic matrix of Lana Lang from a parallel universe, who also was an Earthborn angel, merged with teenage rebellious artist Linda Lee Danvers of Leesville, Virginia.
Good old Matrix.
I'm so glad you said that, Murd, because I sure as hell wouldn't have been able to. So thank you.
I honestly only remembered the Matrix part and the Angel part. I forgot about Linda Lee Danvers.
Oh yeah. Yep.
Uttering that sentence took an expenditure of life force, Ian. I just
Thank you. I accept it. I absorb it. I spit it back out, and now it's yours again.
just use it for good, Ian.
Thank you. Dwayne McDuffie's DC Finest Static Playing with Fire is also on this page. DC Finest early Static stuff here, issues 1 through 15 of Static. Superman, the Man of Steel, number 36. Superboy, number 7, and Worlds Collide, number 1.
I mean, got to get up. Got to go.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. Always. And Batman, The Long Halloween, DC Compact Comics Edition, Jeff Loeb, Tim Sale. What else needs to be said about The Long Halloween? It's one of the greatest Batman stories of all time. So, yeah, 3 well worth DC Finest collections here, all for you on page 49. And then this weird thing. God.
Oh yeah, who wants to talk about this book?
Please.
Oh, I think I owned one of the first printings of this book, Absolute Crisis.
You have the Absolute edition? Okay. Yeah.
I think I do. Absolutely.
Yeah. I have the edition that has this cover but is regular sized. So the wraparound cover, the absolutely gorgeous wraparound cover by Perez and Ross.
Well, yeah, I have the soft cover from 2001, 2002. I bought it around that time.
That's about the one that I have, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
And I have the Absolute, I think.
Yeah. And I like that this includes not just Crisis on Infinite Earths 1 through 12, but also History of the DC Universe issues 1 and 2. So, important post-crisis stuff to include there.
Well, maybe I'll get this one if I don't have. I'm not 100%. I have the original Absolute because it says that they remastered it and they recolored it, and I don't know if the one I have would have been the one I think I have would be recolored or remastered.
Also remember, wasn't there a version of it, or at least the first edition, where they had to basically reprint it because there was a page that was like doubled or something like that on the original version?
Something like that.
Yeah.
I honestly don't remember if I have it because I don't have that many Absolutes, but I do have like 2 or 3, but I haven't seen them in over a decade, so I don't know.
I doubt you need this edition, Murd. I think you have enough Crisis in your life, but
Probably, yeah. I mean, it's $125, but it does contain numerous brand new essays from creators of the time and more surprise wonders. So it'd be interesting to see some other heretofore unseen perspectives on the series. I mean, it doesn't say from creators of the Crisis series, just creators of the time, people who might have been impacted in ways not often cataloged by the changes that the Maxi series put into practice.
absolutely, yeah.
That's why I'm hoping I don't have the original.
Well, I'm also hoping that maybe they put this version on Infinite as part of Ultra. Because if they do, then I'll have access to all those essays. Because frankly, that is the reason to pick it up, is the essays more than anything.
Yeah.
For sure.
Yeah. Meanwhile, Birds of Prey by Gail Simone Omnibus, Volume 1. This collects issues 56 through 90. A story from Birds of Prey Secret Files 2003. Pages from Batgirl number 57 and Batman 633. And a brand spanking new cover by Nicholas Scott to go along with it. Written by Gail Simone, artwork by Ed Bennis, Joe Bennett, and tons others. So it's some of the best work of Gail Simone's career. It made the Birds of Prey really what they are to me. I know they existed before Gail, but it's Gail's run that I think of first. So
yeah, this is my run.
Yep, definitely. So full omnibus there on page 50. And Ostrander and Mandrake's Spectre gets an omnibus.
Yes, and I'm very happy to see it. This is at the bottom of page 51. It covers issues 0 through 31 of that celebrated Spectre run, and it's... Again, I'm not a huge fan of horror comics, but I honestly think this is one of the best things to come out of DC in the first half of the 90s. It devotes more thought and attention to not only the Spectre as a concept. It's not just, blundering around coming up with ironic punishments for the guilty, although he does do plenty of that, too. At one point, he actually commits genocide. He, reduces an entire small European country to slag, and then has to deal with the, moral fallout of that. But it also develops Jim Corrigan as a person for about the first time in, the half century of that character's existence to that time. And it establishes a history and a heritage and certain rules for the Spectre Force, and fleshes out its backstory too, if you will. It's a lot of the stuff that Ostrander came up with was great, compelling stuff, but it didn't fit in with later writers' plans, and a lot of it was kind of conveniently forgotten. But it's still, I highly recommend this to anybody who's at all interested in the character.
Yeah, another character created by these two Jewish kids. What are the names? Joe Shuster and Jerry Siegel.
Yeah, what did they ever do?
Who knows?
Siegel, anyway. I think the artist was actually Bernard Bailey.
Okay. I stand corrected.
You sit corrected, but still.
I am sitting rather corrected right now.
Exactly. On this page, fine, it's DC. I'll do it. 52. We also get a collection that I'm very happy to see. Jonah Hex All-Star Western Omnibus. This is Palmiotti and Gray's Jonah Hex Epic. Artwork by Phil Winslade, Moratat, Staz Johnson, and a bunch of others included there as well. It was a terrific Jonah Hex run that I feel like a lot of people forgot. And I'm glad that DC is bringing this one back into print for that very reason. This is Jonah Hex All-Star Western Omnibus, collecting the entire series from All-Star Western issues 0 through 34. It was a new 52 series, and that's why a lot of people missed it, quite frankly. And because it wasn't called Jonah Hex, it was called All-Star Western. So
yep. I remember that.
But they have done the right thing and actually retitled it Jonah Hex All-Star Western for this collection, and good job. So yeah,
shout out to the Raging Bullets guys for originally getting me on Jonah Hex all those years ago. Yep. Before this new 52 series.
And the fact that the Raging Bullets guys have been around long enough for now to have relaunched, just like DC has. So,
you know what? I am a little disappointed in them because they should have relaunched at least 7 times by now.
Oh, I know.
If they're truly a DC Comics podcast, they would have relaunched 7 times.
Absolutely, Sean, Jim, we love you. Yes. Glad to see you're covering, everything now, not just DC, as part of the relaunch Raging Bullets. So, continuing to be one of the best damn comic book podcasts out there. Absolutely.
Looking forward to episode 57B.
You mean 57Q? That's also here, Justice League by Scott Snyder and James Tynion IV, Omnibus Volume 2. Very much leading into the whole dark metal side of things, and death metal for that matter. So page 53.
Oh, the Totality.
Yep.
I remember that run.
And interesting to see this collected. Red, of all things. Red became a movie, 2 movies actually.
2 movies.
And this is the comic book that it was based on, by Warren Ellis and Cully Hounder. So a 2025 edition of Red with the proper DC Vertigo imprint listed as part of it. So page 54 for that. And to finish us out, Batman Ego and Other Tales by Darwin Cook, deluxe edition. Buy it. it's
Darwin Cook.
Darwin Cook Batman. Like, what else needs to be said about that? Like, come on. On that same page is also the Authority Omnibus Volume 2. That was the Brubaker and Ennis years of the Authority. While also a bunch of Brave and the Bold on there as well, back when Mark Waid and Jerry Ordway and Scott Collins were on that Brave and the Bold from the 2000s. All there available on page 55. And then that's it for DC. But wait, there's Marvel. And here it is. Here's Marvel. It was hiding. So, once again, thank you very much for a Disney variant that actually goes with the title that's supposed to be on. Moving on. All right. X-Men of Apocalypse Alpha. So this one is interesting. This one is... did I actually give us the full solicitation later on in the book? Because if so, I'll talk about it then. But I believe they are going to, because I think this is just like an early thing here. But nevertheless, this is basically going to be the continuation of Age of Apocalypse, and by the original creator, by Jeff Loeb, giving us more information. The thing is, there have been other continuations of Age of Apocalypse, so you could just consider this to be one of them. But either way, we're back in the Age of Apocalypse, so we'll see how it goes from there. Age of Apocalypse Alpha. While we talk about other things, let's find out what actual page number this is. There we go, page 4. Marvel All on One. That was intentional, wasn't it? Calling it that is intentional. That has to be intentional. It's like all in, like all on one. All right, fine. Ryan North, Ed McGuinness, writer and artist. This is not the right solicitation for it. Or is it? No, it is. Okay.
It is. Yeah.
All right. There we go. Never mind. Okay. They just gave it such a different name on the actual cover here just to confuse the hell out of me. But yeah, it is The Thing versus the Marvel Universe in a 50-page epic told entirely in splash pages.
Yeah.
50 splashes. Ooh.
Yep. That sounds awesome. And hopefully it is just as beautiful as, oh my God. Yes.
Oh my! There needs to be an oversized version of this.
Oh, there's gonna be. There's.
I would buy that. I'm not getting the regular sized.
Just for that image alone, right here of Mr. Fantastic, it's gonna be incredibly worth it. Oh my God! Wow. Good stuff.
Oh, that's one for me.
Yep.
Torgata Tunda.
So remember how we said that Immortal Thor was over and that Al Ewing was probably going to continue it in one way? Well, guess what? He is.
Yep, with Pasquale Ferry.
Mm-hmm. Yep. Al Ewing and Pasquale Ferry.
2 solid years of high mythology Thor stories. Now Al Ewing seems to be intent on focusing on the terrestrial half of Thor's identity. We're getting a mortal, instead of immortal Thor, we're getting a mortal Thor. You can almost hear the sad walking away song from the Bill Bixby Incredible Hulk as you look at the image on the next page.
Yeah. No, absolutely. Oh my God. Yes. And for that matter, and I mean this sincerely, I'm so glad that Joe Quesada is drawing good again.
He doesn't have so many things to distract him these days,
Yeah, that's true. That's true. Yeah. But so either way, page 10 for this new down-to-earth Thor, a man with a hammer, and a man is waking up. Let's see where this one goes. I am very interested in this right here. Page 12, G. Willow Wilson, Gleb Melnikov, Black Cat #1. Felicia Hardy, the Black Cat, the world's slyest and most skilled super thief. She loves a good score. The longer the odds, the better. But her entire world turned upside down after the Amazing Spider-Man's battle with Hellgate. So Felicia has turned over a new leaf as New York City's newest superhero? What? Yep. She's gone legit, and she's facing the lizard.
Yeah, and the Kingpin, with whom she has history, is lurking in the background.
Mm-hmm. Yep. All in on this. G. Willow Wilson back at Marvel doing Black Cat. Yeah, that sounds great.
Yeah. But again, and this is a problem that I'm noticing. It's a bad habit, shall we say, that Marvel has picked up here. This is a first issue. It's 32 pages. It's $4.99. I suspect that subsequent issues are going to come back down to $3.99. But Marvel is just tacking an extra dollar onto the cover price of #1 issues just because they're #1 issues.
Yeah.
That is a cash grab, and I do not like it.
I agree. I agree entirely. Yep. Now this, over on page 14, we get a brand new day for Spider-Gwen. With all new Spider-Gwen, the Ghost Spider #1. So it's a mouthful of a title. Stephanie Phillips, Paolo Villanelli. Gwen Stacy isn't from this earth, but she's here to stay. So it's time to make herself at home. A new costume, a new home life. Heck, she's even starting a new band. Unfortunately for Gwen, new threats are also heading her way, starting with one that just might be her own fault. Follow the Ghost Spider as she settles into Earth 616 to stay. I am very nervous about this. Because I think one of the things that made, and Dan Gavosdin was on Blue Sky talking about this a little while ago, and I
My
agree.
former coworker and friend, Dan Gavosdin.
Yes, indeed. Yep, and fellow podcaster and good human being.
Yeah.
But he was talking about how one of the things that made Spider-Gwen or Ghost Spider what she was her world and her cast of characters, and now putting her on 616 may very well make her an also-ran. And I'm hoping that's not the case, because Miles Morales, while I'm glad he is still a prominent character, still feel is not nearly as prominent as he was when he was in the Ultimate Universe. And I hope she has a better fate than what could potentially happen when Marvel has tried this in the past. So
Yeah, it feels like Miles and Gwen have much more of a outer media presence, especially with Spider-Verse. But Peter still dominates the comics.
But Miles is at least the one who's crossing over into the Ultimate Universe, so he's prominent with that big story going on there. So yeah, who knows? But either way, let's see where this goes. Page 14 for that.
Yes, the Godzilla crossover comic I am getting. Godzilla Destroys the Marvel Universe #2 of 5, featuring Ghost Rider Zilla. That penance there is going to be insane.
For that matter, you're also going to get Venomzilla probably as the.
Oh yes.
Yep.
As a 90s kid / Godzilla fan, this is everything I ever possibly wanted.
Oh my god.
My god, look at this.
And that they're going with very much it's not quite the design, but pretty much the Godzilla design that was in the Marvel Universe back in the day. You know, it's very similar to it. So, good stuff. Page 16. Ooh. Great variant there by Simona Di Meo. Fantastic Four issue 2. North and Umberto Ramos.
Ooh,
happy to see what they're going to wind up doing with that. And Zdarsky's second issue. Last month, Murd, we were very happy to mention that Chip Zdarsky is taking over Captain America, and this is the second issue of said run, and I cannot wait to see what he does with the character. Hopefully it'll be remembered as one of the best of all time, but we shall see. Page 19 for that. Venom, Black, White, and Blood, issue 1 of 4. David Michelini, James DeMatteis, Ryan North. They are Venom. And they get their...
It's an anthology.
Yep. All good on that. Page 22. They're doing a Bring on the Bad Guys collection here. Celebrates the 50-year legacy of the groundbreaking Bring on the Bad Guys collection, one of the very first graphic novels that rocked the Marvel Universe. Doing a whole bunch of different Bring on the Bad Guys issues. Looking forward to that.
Ooh, that cover's really good.
Oh, it's a great cover. Stephanie Phillips and Mark Guggenheim on the writing shores, Tommaso Bianchi and Michael Stamaria on the art shores. Thank you, Santa Maria. I knew I was going to do that. Santa Maria.
In fairness to you, they forgot the abbreviation point after it.
I figured. Yeah, they should have just wrote Santa. Damn it! All right, whatever.
Yeah.
Bring on the bad guys. Red Skull #1. Red Skull at his most sinister on page 25. Page 26 brings us Dormammu, Bring on the Bad Guys, by Alex Packnadel and Mark Guggenheim. Javier Pina on the artwork chores on that one, along with the previous artwork. Lee Bermejo brings us Mephisto #1. Alvaro Lopez on the artwork for that. Great cover there by Lee Bermejo, that is, with Mark Guggenheim on the writing. So yeah, a whole bunch of Bring on the Bad Guys one-shots to celebrate the graphic novel. Obviously, Mr. Ebele is continuing to look at this, Marvel Knights, The World to Come, #3 of 6. Story by Joe Quesada and Christopher Priest, essentially a sequel to Mr. Priest's storied Marvel Knights run of Black Panther, on page 28 there. While Victor Laval and Jonathan Hickman bring us a very different Black Panther, Imperial War, Black Panther #1, straight into the pages of Imperial, also including World Breaker, Hulk, and Amadeus Cho. I look forward to reading Imperial once it's all wrapped up.
Yeah, I have the first issue on order. I think it's coming in my next shipment.
Nice. Hickman and Coelho on the 3rd of 4 of that there. While we also get Imperial War Planet She-Hulk by Stephanie Phillips and Jonathan Hickman with artwork by the one and only TBA.
Another great.
Page 32 there. Ah, yes. Page 33. Jason Aaron, artwork by Classified, which means it must be somebody good.
Yeah.
If they don't want to give it away, then like, all right. But Uncle Scrooge, Earth's Mightiest Duck, #1 of 4. Yes. The planet has been conquered by alien invaders, the connoisseurs, nefarious hoarders of the rarest antiques from throughout the cosmos. As they tear the Earth apart, pillaging its fabled treasures, only the world's greatest adventurer can possibly stop them. But Scrooge McDuck is facing a battle unlike any he's ever fought, trapped inside his own mind, fighting to preserve his most precious memories. An extravagance of all-star artists joined together for the most epic adventure in Duck history, with Earth's Mightiest Duck, 1 of 4 on page 33. Excellent. Ooh. Killmonger strikes in Superior Avengers #5 of 6. If Kristoff is involved, I'm interested, because he is not involved nearly as much as he should be. Issue 37 of the Avengers, featuring Mr. Fantastic himself. The Missing Moment. The Avengers have cracked the code, but what does Reed Richards have to do with it? The true nature of Meridian is revealed. Page 37 there. Now, X-Men Tooth and Claw, #1. Alex Packnadel on the writing. Diogenes Nevis and Philip Sevi on the artwork. How did two of mutant kind's most dangerous villains become part of Cyclops' X-Men? So this is filling in the this actually collects X-Men from the Ashes 13 through 18 for the first time in print. So once again, this is another one of those infinite comics that are actually getting the time of day, but it fills in an important hole into how Beast and Magneto joined up with the X-Men in Alaska. So if you're wondering how that happens, Tooth and Claw #1 puts it all together in one place for you. And then Wolverine by Chris Claremont, #1. This reprints Marvel Paragon Collection, Chris Claremont Wolverine #1.
Interesting.
Yeah, by Chris Claremont and Tom Riley. Very interesting. One of the bloodiest fights you've ever seen the X-Men in which Creed shares some shocking insights with Marvel's mutants. Victor Creed, that is. Page 39. They're still calling it the New Thunderbolts, so no change there. And no reason why they would change it for any of you who haven't seen the movie. I'm not giving it away. Page 41. Asterisk. Hulk heist.
That pesky asterisk.
The asterisk is important. All right. And the Shadow King gets involved with Wolverines and Deadpools, number 2 of 3. You see, because the females are there too. There's multiples. 2 of them. 2 each. Brilliant. Absolutely brilliant.
Well, I hate to say this because I'm probably going to get murdered for it, but sometimes too much Deadpool is possible, and you got to really temper it, and you got to you know what I mean?
I'm sure that everyone agrees with you on that.
No one agrees with me. I'm dead.
Yeah, no, that's true. All right. Miles Morales, Spider-Man, number 36. Hercules. Yes. Miles Morales is the last man standing against God of War Ares' onslaught, but the tournament's newest battlefield is now Miles' home turf of Brooklyn.
Oh.
Yeah. Spider-Man draws a line in the sand. No retreat, no quarter. Very interesting. And Hercules. That's issue 36 of the Miles run. And then issue 37 will feature White Cat and Inari on the prowl. What's on page 47? Whatever there's a spider mech, I'm happy.
Leopardon.
Yes. Spider-Verse versus Venomverse. Issue 4 or 5. The final battle begins.
I hope the emissary from Hell's in there.
I'm sure he probably is. And meanwhile, Guggenheim and Kari Andrews' Spider-Man and Wolverine continues as well. On page 51 with the 4th of 5 issues. When I saw Ultimate Angel there, Raph, who'd you think it was?
I thought it was... I don't know, because I see the metal rings and I think Archangel.
I thought it was Darkhawk for a minute there, to be honest.
No purple gem.
True.
And they're never going to do... They're not going to do Ultimate Darkhawk. They don't like me that much.
Well, on that page 53, we continue with the Ultimate Spider-Man Incursion, which, as I said, includes Mr. Miles making his way over to the other Ultimate Universe. And we get some background into Vibranium's mysteries in Ultimate Black Panther number 19 on page 54. 55, My Dinner with Harry. Harry Osborn lives. Peter and Mary Jane have another fateful dinner with Harry and Gwen.
How's the pie?
So good. Page 57 of Ultimates number 15. We get ourselves the Monk, the Dragon, and the Fist. Shang-Chi of the Ultimate Universe.
Yes, I'm gonna buy this one. I've already put it on order, but I should buy a second one.
Absolutely. just to double down.
Yes.
Yeah. Nice.
More Jed McKay X-Men.
Indeed.
I gotta catch up on so much, but yeah.
Oh yeah, this has been great so far. A second Iron Knight brings with its consequences, and Cyclops has some explaining to do on behalf of the X-Men. But even a born leader can reach a breaking point, and Cyclops has had to do so much explaining recently. And on that next page, we get a very different X-Men story, as the younger X-Men take advantage of the break and head on to town. Their mission, revenge on the social media thrill killers, the upstarts. Can Jen overcome her fear and embrace her new self? Or will she begin to tread a dark road of her own? That's on page 59 there. And Uncanny X-Men number 19 has Deadpool and Outlaw in it, and it's Gail Simone. Thank you. Thank
the mere
you
fact
very
that
much.
Outlaw is in it is enough to tell me that it's Gail Simone, because she likes that character more than
Mm-hmm.
anybody else.
Damn right she does. Yep.
Now, all we need is Agent X, and I'll be back in college, and it's summer, and I'm just reading that book, and I'm loving every second of it.
Yep. 100%. Wow. Also, an outlier gets arrested. Nightcrawler gets the wrong beer. All this and more in our wildest issue yet. Yeah, I would say that. Issue 19 is going to be a hell of a ride on page 61.
And on page 62, Storm rides the Cosmic Hippo.
Oh, yes.
Yes. She was made to do it. Absolutely made to.
Yeah. Keep telling you, fans, if you love Marvel Cosmic, don't sleep on Storm.
Or Phoenix, for that matter. Phoenix has been really, really good cosmic storytelling.
Yeah, that Golden Eagle hasn't been buying enough shelf copies of that, because I've been curious. The current storyline has Jean Grey's sister back from the dead and joining her out in the cosmos.
Ooh, and page 64, because you demanded it, Gabby Kitty is back. Yes.
There we go.
Oh my God, Honey Badger.
Honey Badger don't give a fuck.
Love me some Honey Badger. So happy. And Zaris, son of Dracula. Okay, sure.
I knew he had a son named Janus, but I haven't heard of Zaris before.
Oh,
Interesting.
now's the time.
Yep. And there's Jean and Sarah Gray doing some sisterly Phoenix Force bonding out there.
Yep. I've also heard some scuttlebutt that there may be a bit of a revision coming on the Chrysalis back in the day, and whether or not there actually was a separate Phoenix entity. Don't know when or where it's happening, but I remember reading an article about that somewhere, that there may very well be some revisionist history happening with the history of the Phoenix. So,
it's not like the Phoenix history was ever convoluted before this.
oh, of course not. Definitely not.
Oh boy, I love Phoenix. Is one of my favorite characters, and I'm saying this.
Yep. Fifth and final issue of Wolverine and Kitty Pryde, as Kitty versus Logan in this, and the finality of this apparently will set up a change to the way you look at Uncanny X-Men issue 192. So that's apparently where we're leading off here. So, fifth and final issue of Claremont's miniseries, since he has a forever contract with Marvel and can do whatever the hell he wants. So, good for him. Good for him.
Now, if only John Byrne would take the same deal.
All right. Wolverine number 12. Wolverine and his century-plus-year-old mother, Elizabeth Howlett, are on the run. Thanks, Saladin. Thanks. He couldn't save her in his youth, but he won't lose her again. He can't.
Momverine!
Did she go through a portal, or is she actually that old? I guess I'm going to have to read to find out.
I'm assuming that he's traveled back in time.
I'm guessing, yeah.
That's
And
the least stupid possibility.
great facsimiles this month.
I want to win a Toys R Us shot. I want my second shot. I wasn't alive for that one.
No, I know, exactly.
I was 1 year old, so I wasn't really.
Yeah, exactly.
I was never a Toys R Us kid anyway. My parents never took me there.
I wasn't either, but I always wanted to be.
I'm just glad that they still included that on the facsimile. You know, like that makes me happy that they continue to include that on there. But
Yes, it is proper.
yeah, Puppet Master first appearance, Fantastic Four number 8, and then X-Men 138, the complete Death of Phoenix saga as it was originally printed, continuing to be printed here with one of the final issues of that, and a facsimile edition of Civil War, as we reach a milestone for that, as come next year, it'll be 20 years since Civil War.
God, we're old.
Yep.
I just found my copy of issue 1.
Wow.
Not that long ago.
That's crazy.
There's a box here of all my Civil War stuff, pretty much. Everything from 2006. And it's just like, wow, 20 years, huh?
So it's a story that very much changed the Marvel Universe for good or bad. So page 69 for that facsimile. If you haven't read it before, you get the opportunity. And
I think that was the start of the never-ending event cycle.
Pretty much, yeah. Or at least thereabouts to it, yeah.
Mm-hmm. Like Avengers Disassembled, Civil War, House of M, that sort of time period.
Mm-hmm. Death of Silver Surfer issue 3, Greg Pak and Sumit Kumar continuing their miniseries on page 72 there. The fourth and final issue of Fantastic Four Fanfare with the likes of Daniel Warren Johnson, Greg Weisman, and J. Michael Straczynski as the writers. Like, come on.
I think this is that in-universe, movie universe book, right?
No, it is not.
Oh,
This is basically an anthology style Fantastic Four book. The one
Marvel Fanfare style. Okay.
Yeah. The one
you're
you're
thinking
thinking
had Fraction.
Yeah, exactly. Fraction and Buckingham
Mhm,
doing that.
mhm.
Ooh, whoa! Look at that.
That's
Just
a cool cover.
for the Thing. I'm sorry, Nick Bradshaw did that cover. Oof, beautiful, beautiful stuff. Thing versus the Juggernaut. Page 76, we get the new champions raise Hela. Get it? Because Hela, the character, you see. Ooh, ooey. Change is coming, and apparently it's going to be really gory and disgusting, and I don't want to look at that cover. Incredible.
I guess we're going
page 77.
little homage to the previous Immortal run, maybe? I don't know.
It's certainly possible, yeah. Now this, however, is an excellent cover. Vision and Scarlet Witch, number 4 of 5. Russell Dodderman continuing to knock it out of the park on every cover he does. It even has a corner box.
Yes. Respect.
Yes, indeed. Yep. West Coast
Avengers.
Yep. Mark of Ultron. Jerry Duggan continuing his West Coast run there. Page 80. And the 9th issue of Helverine, because we asked for 9 of those. But Benjamin Percy, it's Helverine. Yeah. Yeah. Okay, moving on. Predator kills the Marvel Universe. Of all the kills the Marvel Universes that have come out recently, this is the one that I think that makes the most sense to me. But Benjamin Percy, Marcelo Ferreira, 5-issue miniseries. Because Predators can kill the Marvel Universe. That is something that they can do.
I mean, aliens can too, but that's a different killing.
True. Yeah.
That's from the inside.
Predator King, a Vibranium Arsenal, and All-Out Invasion. Page 83 there for that. Ooh. It appears we're getting ourselves the Doctor and the Smuggler meeting up. Some Han Solo action in Dr. Aphra Chaos Agent issue 3 of Star Wars on page 84 there. And Alex Segura's Star Wars reaches its 4th issue with the one and only Phil Noto on the artwork and cover. And that's a damn fine cover if I do say so myself. The Millennium Falcon, cornered! And a message from the Clone Wars era sends shockwaves in the present. Down we go into the trades. Avengers by Jeff Johns and Olivier Coipel collected in omnibus form here. So this was right before Disassembled, essentially. So Avengers 57 through 84, the Vision series from 2002, issues 1 through 4, Thor issue 58, Iron Man 64, and New Invaders issue 0. So time that's often eclipsed gets its time in the sun.
I think I have an early collection of that. I remember that time. I think I was still reading at the time.
Nice. Oh, here on page 91, Alpha Flight by the one and only Bill Mantlo and penciled by Jim Lee. I forgot this ever happened, but it did. And some of Jim Lee's earliest works in Marvel came here while Bill Mantlo was writing Alpha Flight. So Bill Mantlo, James Hudnall, Roger Stern, pencils by Lee, Mike Mignola Joe Bogdanov, Sal Buscema, legends of the industry, all together here on some Alpha Flight, page 91. Better damn well have some puck. All right. Let's see what some of the yes, here we are.
Delightful.
Yep, Godzilla versus the Marvel Universe in trade paperback on sale.
I'm getting that.
Of course you are. Of course you are.
I mean, there wasn't really any doubt, right?
Try not to buy 3 of them, please.
They're not going to do multiple covers.
All right, fine. But page 96 for that. There's at least 2 covers. All right.
I'm going to pick the good one.
Then volume 3 of the amazing Ultimate Spider-Man. It's just the Ultimate Spider-Man, but it happens to be amazing. By Jonathan Hickman. There on page 99. Collects issues 13 through 18 of that series.
That's how I'm reading it, so it's on my list already.
Speaking of the end of Immortal Thor, volume 5, Death of the Immortal Thor, is collected on page 102 there. And David Paposi and Steve Fox's Cable Loving Chrome, also there for us on page 106. And 107 gives us the Rogue Savage Land trade paperback, filling in a gap in Rogue's history. And is going to collect Rogue the Savage Land 1 through 5, as well as Uncanny X-Men issues 169 and 174 from back in the day. So, nice way to fill it out.
One of my favorite cosmic sagas of recent times.
Annihilation, yeah.
Yep.
Annihilation was something else. And Keith Giffen, Christos Gage, Stuart Moore, Simon Furman, and others. This was Annihilation Ronin 1 through 4, Annihilation 1 through 6, Annihilation Herald of Galactus 1 and 2, and Annihilation Nova Corps. Annihilation was definitely a space epic of its time. As we get further down. Some old school Guardians.
Original Guardians.
Yep, the original Guardians, indeed. Jim Valentino, Al Milgram, Tom DeFalco, Len Kaminsky, and Ron Mars. Got some Herb Trimpe artwork in there. Alex Trimpe as well. Al Milgram and Jim Valentino on the pencils as well. Page 113 for that. And I'm glad to see that they're recollecting this Jeff Loeb, Tim Sale, Hulk Gray. That's one of my favorites. Yep. Collecting Hulk Gray issues 1 through 6 in one trade paperback here, and telling the story of the earliest days of the Hulk. And they're also reprinting Howard the Duck by Zdarsky and Quinones, which is crazy and a lot of fun.
Oh yeah, that was a while ago. That was 10 years ago now. Oh my God, that was 10 years ago.
Yep.
Oh,
that was some of Zdarsky's earliest writing.
Right. I was going to say that same thing.
Right. He was still drawing sexy crims.
Yes, he was. Yep. All right, and that finishes up Marvel. So let's head on over to IDW. Again, IDW gets its own catalog because everything does. Oh, well, what are you going to do? But theirs at least has page numbers, so a step in the right direction. What say we, Raph, on Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles Shredder #1?
I actually am waiting for the trade on this because I'm trying to be stricter about my book purchases.
Fair enough.
Because, I already get all the other 3 Ninja Turtle books. So I need to slow down a little bit, but I'm definitely interested. As a dark new power from the shadows of New York rises, so does a much darker power return to the city streets for revenge. One of the most terrifying villains in the history of comics is back and more deadly than ever. Returned forever changed by maddening ordeal beyond imagining, the Shredder is a man out of time, betrayed by all around him without the Foot Clan, and quite possibly insane. When one of his former Foot prodigies forms their own rival clan with infernal designs of New York, a recovering Shred dude must quest deep into the criminal underworld, where enemies both old and new will discover what defiance will bring them at the hand of the Shred dude's blades. I mean,
Shred Dude.
It's the Shred dude. Like, whoa. He's like totally dangerous, dude.
Yes, he is. And I like this this redesign. Very sleek and streamlined, but still gets the point across that it's Shredder.
Yeah, no cape, different, little bit of a different mask.
Yep. Even the blades are a little bit different. Dan Waters is the craftsman behind us, and
Yeah,
Michelle
very
Davis
Laura Kinney.
on the artwork. Yeah. Yep. Definitely. Page 2 for that. We also get the 12th issue of Jason Aaron's Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles relaunch on page 3.
Gee, I wonder if I'm gonna get that.
Why, yes, you are.
Yeah, I get that. I get Mutant Nation, and I was getting Black, White, and Green, but I think that's already done with.
Yep. The Dogstar clan has finally come to America in the Mutant Nation finale by Thundercats team of Declan Shelby and Drew Moss. So this might be the end of Mutant Nation here as well for you.
Yep, there's final issue. Oh, good. Okay, maybe I do want to get Shredder then.
Page 4 there. Listen, you can still whiff her. It's fine.
That's true. That's true.
And of course, I love that the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles Saturday Morning Adventures exists in any way, shape, or form.
Oh, I want the arcade cover.
That is really cool. Page 5 for that. This is interesting. TMNT Journeys, #1. A lost piece of TMNT history brought back to light. Story here by Peter Laird. Artwork by Jim Lawson. 24 years ago, legendary TMNT co-writer Peter Laird joined forces with Jim Lawson at legendary talent at Mirage Studios to continue the epic journey of the Ninja Turtles in the 4th volume of their ongoing series. TMNT Journeys reprints the epic series here for the very first time. The Ninja Turtles are growing up and facing off against new frightening dangers that could tear the four brothers apart and change New York City forever. Meanwhile, April and Casey Jones prepare for the next step in their relationship as they're expecting a baby. And Master Splinter trains with Shadow Jones for the dark forces threatening the family ahead. And this is the first time this has been collected from the sounds of it.
This came out from Mirage. This is before the Nickelodeon purchase. I have all the issues.
Oh, okay.
Because why wouldn't I? Because I thought there was a trade for it that Mirage put out, but maybe I'm thinking about the omnibus they did for Volume 1, which I also have, because why wouldn't I?
I mean, it is possible that Mirage put one out, but it might have just been like small quantities since it was, right before the purchase. So,
dude, I totally have pretty much all of it, man.
Wow, radical. Page 6. And the Night Watcher, he watches at night.
Gee, I wonder which aggressive angry turtle this is.
I don't know. Your namesake?
Well, actually, I'm his namesake. I'm older.
Your namesake? Okay, fine.
I mean, I'm older. I'm older by 2 months.
I know.
And you want to talk about conception? My parents did the deed before Kevin Eastman and Peter Laird did. Okay,
wait.
Just saying.
All right, fine,
just saying.
Fine. But Night Watcher is basically Nightwing but Raph. So check it out. Collects the free comic book day issue plus all 7 issues of the Night Watcher miniseries, and includes an introduction by Kevin Monroe, writer and director of the 2007 TMNT film where Night Watcher first debuted in Turtles history. Page 7 for that. We get ourselves a new Star Trek Voyager series.
This is kind of like Voyager season 8. It's I immediately put this in my cart.
This sounds really cool.
It picks up right after they get back to Earth after the end of Endgame.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah, I'm excited to see this.
That's really cool. Yeah. Susan Bridges, Tilly Bridges on the writing and artwork. I'm sorry, right on the writing. And Angel Hernandez. Seriously? Okay. Wow. Nice. Good pedigree there on the artwork. And Star Trek prodigy consultants Tilly and Susan Bridges are the ones behind this, who also worked on Monster High and Star Trek Adventures and Fallout TTRPG. And yeah, like you said, right after the end of Voyager. So if you were wondering what happened, this is what happens. So do check it out. Page 10. There's also going to be a Strange New Worlds mini series here, The Seeds of Salvation by Robbie Thompson and Travis Mercer. And this is plotting through uneventful mission after uneventful mission. Christine Chapel is itching for a real adventure. So when an opportunity to reunite with her old scientist friend, Jennair, for research on the planet Poliant crops up, Chapel is excited to finally do what Starfleet does best, explore strange new worlds. However, when the Enterprise arrives in Poliant's space, the crew cannot get into contact with Jennair or any of her researchers. And then the bad stuff happens. So, Strange New Worlds, The Seed of Salvation, issue 1 there on page 11.
Lower Decks.
Lower Decks. Lower Decks. Tim Sheridan, Vernon Smith continues Lower Decks in comic form, and I'm so happy for it.
I've been slightly wrong about this series because I've actually started reading more issues. They're actually two issue story arcs.
Oh, okay, got it. So
it's not self-contained. It's like part 1, part 2, and then part 1, part 2. So far, at least 4 issues in.
Okay. Well, and this is going to be a 10D issue, so that's great. And the Ferengi causing havoc. What better way to do it?
Because why wouldn't they?
Exactly. Down we go. Blood Honey by Sean Peacock. This is in the Burton-esque macabre world. Young lovers Vanessa de la Mora and Edgar St. Clair are at the top of the food chain at Manderley Prep High School. They should be focusing on their upcoming crowning as homecoming queen and king. But lately, the duo have grown weary and resentful of each other. While breaking up seems like the easy solution, they both independently decided that all of their problems would be solved if the other's was, well, dead. Blood Honey! Murder! Yeah!
It's an exciting game of cat and also cat.
Indeed. Available for you there on page 16.
Well,
and
classic
then,
series.
Mm-hmm. You got Godzilla
in Hell. Yeah, I already own it. It's such a great series. I don't think the foil cover is enough to convince me to get it. But
well, good.
Really good series. It's one of my favorite Godzilla comics.
Yep. James Sticco on the art and story for this one, and the artwork is sublime. It is so good. It is amazing. And Hell is basically like, hey, Godzilla, you deserve to be punished for everything you've done. And Godzilla's like, nah. Have some nuclear death fire. And on the next page, we continue Godzilla, Here There Be Aliens. Because here, there be aliens. And Godzilla. I mean, why not?
Oh, and a cameo by Jet Jaguar.
Yes, indeed. Yep. Throwing them out there for you.
Mm-hmm. Mothra gets her own series, and
Mothra's 5 issues into their own series by Sophie Campbell. Page 19 there. This is interesting too. Godzilla the Monster comic art collection. So this is all Godzilla artwork in an 8x12 oversized format by a whole bunch of Godzilla artists. If you're just looking for the art and not the story, they've got you all covered there on page 20. All right. Let's see if there's anything else. Yes, Top Shelf. We are getting Halloween before Halloween for sure. Although this will be available in September, so that's not too early. Spoops, the little spirits of Halloween. Discover the whimsical magic behind Halloween in this timeless new illustrated fable for the whole family. Featuring the Spoops.
Yes. Very cute little children's picture book.
Indeed. Available for you there on page 30. This looks fascinating. Head-spinning, time-bending graphic novel, which is a nuclear fusion of fantasy and sci-fi, whose every page glows with an eerie light. Will you survive the blast of Ironheart? Not Ironheart. That's something different. Ironheart is Marvel. This is Ironheart. There's no R. Please make sure to say it correctly.
Right. Eye on heart.
Exactly. There you go. This is what Lucas Kummer is bringing forth. The best work to date by one of the greatest talents of the German-speaking comic world. That's what Andreas Plothouse says. So this is a translation of a German comic, and it certainly sounds interesting, and it looks gorgeous. So, yeah, good stuff here. Ironheart on page 32. Alien Books is now under IDW.
Interesting.
How about that?
Yeah. I was
Everlasting Odyssey of the Valiant Universe continues.
You better believe it. Yeah. But this means that the relaunch is probably back on. So that's good, because a couple months ago we were talking about a relaunch, and then it got completely shit canned by the destroying of Diamond. But yeah, Alien is teamed up with IDW, and IDW is also one of the Penguin Random House exclusives. So Valiant Beyond Bloodshot #1 here by Mauro Mantello and Fernando Hines Furukawa, bringing a new era of superhero storytelling for the Valiant universe there on page 35. Also, we get Tales of the Shadow Man #1 on page 37. And yeah, good stuff. And just like that, we are at a crossroads. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to open the Diamond catalog, and I'm going to look at a little bit of the Diamond catalog, and then we're going to page through a little bit of Lunar, and we're going to call it a night.
I don't think I have anything.
Okay,
which is kind of sad.
I mean, it's not exactly as sad as you would think. One thing that I am a little sad about that at least will be delayed ever so slightly, because this is on page 35 of the Diamond catalog. Don't expect it to come out through Diamond. It will eventually come out, though. Harley Quinn x Elvira. Amanda Connor and Jimmy Palmiotti writing a Harley Quinn x Elvira crossover with Juan Samu and Amanda Connor on the artwork. So that's a match made in hell, quite literally. Like this is something that I'm shocked didn't happen years ago, but finally Harley Quinn and Elvira are crossing over. So keep it in mind. You could try to order it. I highly doubt it's going to wind up coming out when it's supposed to, but it's available there on page 35 of the Diamond catalog.
Yep, and you might as well stop right there at page 40 and 41. It's a new Red Sonja series without the word red for some reason. It's just called Sonja Reborn.
Interesting.
I typically don't have too many shits to give about Red Sonja. It's all about the creative team where that character is concerned, and this one's being written by Christopher Priest.
Oh yeah.
So with art by Alessandro Miracolo. So I think Chris would probably also sit up and take notice, just as he didn't really care about Vampirella most of the time, but when Priest started writing her, he started buying. And that's about what I'm doing here with this quote-unquote Sonja Reborn.
Which, by the way, the image on the cover, it kind of just looks like they took Famke Johnson from the X-Men movies and just put a metal bikini on her, basically.
Oh yeah, I can see that.
It looks vaguely like Peach Momoko art.
A little bit. Yeah. Well, and this in and of itself kind of feels like it's a kind of a ultimate Red Sonja, if you want to put it that way.
Absolutely.
Because it's set in the year 2025, so it is a brand new take on Red Sonja, completely divorced from other versions of it. But they basically are just giving Chris Priest carte blanche to create whatever story he wants. That is Sonja-esque, but also be its own thing. So very interesting indeed. There on page 41. Stitch #1 by Connor Radiff and James III with artwork by Greta Zella. So Stitch gets his own comic book here by out of Dynamite on page 49. I've still yet to see the remake of Lilo and Stitch, but I've heard very positive things about it, and we'll be seeing it hopefully in the not too distant future. But it's a Stitch comic. It looks adorable. So that's really all you need to know.
I'll probably watch it on Disney Plus when it hits there.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. Yep. And the third issue of the Thundercats Powerpuff Girls crossover solicited here as well on page 59. We also get volume 2 of the Powerpuff Girls in the Flower Power collection on page 61. Fifth issue of Captain Planet out as well. Really did enjoy that first issue. Look forward to reading more. page 67. And I think that's about it for Dynamite. Although, yeah, that is indeed about it. So, all right, let's move past it here. And I will mention Titan, but what I'm going to do, rather than mention Titan here, let me pull up the Lunar catalog. Oh, actually, you know what? Screw it. I'll pull up their own catalog because they have their own catalog. So here's the Titan catalog. Separating it off because, again, you will not find this through Diamond anyway, so the order codes ain't going to be meaning anything, quite frankly. But Conan the Barbarian issue 23, Jim Zub and Fernando Dagnino, they're on page 6. We're also getting the Original Comics Omnibus Volume 6, once again from the Conan Comics Group. Always love that they just add the word Conan there on page 8. So this collects from 1970 Conan the Barbarian. This is issues 150 through 171. Conan the Barbarian Annual, issues 8 through 9. And I love that they're able to reprint the What If. You know, even though What If is very much a Marvel series, they were able to get the rights to do What If issue 43 as part of this. So very happy to see that included there on page 8. This is the Savage Sword of Conan, the Original Comics Omnibus Volume 6 as well on page 11. And a whole bunch more omnibuses included there as well. What else is new on that? We do get the Solomon Kane Serpent King trade paperback. This is issues 1 through 4 of that. Oh, I'm sorry. This is just issues 1 through 4. Never mind. I thought they were soliciting a trade. Instead, it's just a pack. So if you want all 4 issues of it, you can get it there on page 24.
I did that with Dave Dwanch's book because I forgot to order 2 through 4.
Yeah, there you go. And even if it's Rebel Moon, I will once again mention Gail Simone is writing Rebel Moon Nemesis, the miniseries. So with Federico Bertoni, which means it'll probably be better than any other Rebel Moon thing that's ever been created. So page 27. One of these days I'll go back and finish that movie. One of the few
Maybe
I stopped watching because I just couldn't. All right, and that is literally it for Titan. So back we go to previews. Page through everything that I literally just did. Here we go. All right. There we go. And more previews to be told. Aftershock is still dead, so not worth talking about them. Is this the... No, that's not it. Okay.
there hasn't been any announcements on Aftershock, right?
No, there hasn't. Unfortunately not. Yeah. All right, and here's all the Dark Horse stuff with literally, wow, that's how you know how little they actually cared about the previews catalog this month. Cover to be revealed on literally everything for Dark Horse. Ugh.
Yeah, how the mighty have fallen.
All right, once we get past that.
Or conversely, Dark Horse didn't care enough to give them the assets.
Oh yeah, it's a little bit of both. It's definitely a
Yeah.
little bit of both. Yeah, because they were an afterthought. All right, here we go. Page 147. Let's go ahead and begin with Marvel Arts Avengers in the Veracity Trap by Chip Kidd with artwork by Michael Cho. Begins with an epic battle in Asgard as Loki, the god of mischief, comes into possession of a weapon of unimaginable power and assembles an army of otherworldly monsters in an effort to carry out his evil plans. Cue the Avengers, who meet this horrifying throng of beasts head-on as a thrilling knockdown, drag-out fight ensues. Writer Chip Kidd and Michael Cho have created a mind-bending, visually tumultuous saga that takes the Avengers and you, the reader, to places that challenge everything we thought we knew about superheroes and the very nature of heroism, villainy, and existence. This is out of Abrams, and yes, please. I love Chip Kidd. I love Michael Cho. That sounds fantastic. So 148 there. Marvel Arts Avengers in the Veracity Trap.
Yeah. Sounds wonderful, but it is $26 for a 64-page story. It's not in my budget.
Oh yeah, absolutely. There'll be a soft cover eventually, so no worries about that. I am glad as well that we're getting a reprinting of the Simpsons Futurama crossover crisis, which is the definitive Futurama Simpsons crossover. I don't care if there was an episode of The Simpsons with Futurama in it. This is the crossover. Like, it's done so much better. I own a copy of this. It's great. It's well worth checking out. And in converse to what you were just talking about, this is 208 pages for $29.99. Much better.
Yes.
Much more satisfying.
Yep, absolutely. Abrams Fanfare also has a couple of Marvel team-up Spider-Man Quantum Quest graphic novel there. That's been solicited a couple times, I feel like, so nothing new there. Is this Aspen? Yeah, okay.
And abstract.
Oh, it's not. Okay.
Yeah, Aspen's a couple pages later.
Got it. Abstract. Strangers in Paradise one-shot by Terry Moore. Trigger warning on page 150. It's a new Strangers in Paradise story by Moore. This basically features Kachu and Francine as you've never seen them in the Old West. Can Civil War veteran Kachu find true love at a small western town? She can if Francine lives there. No. Strangers in Paradise Old West style on page 150. Interesting. Ahoy brings us a couple of books this month. Ancestral Recall by Jordan Clark on page 151 there. Black History for painter Melvin Waring. It's an actual superpower. When Melvin's wife mysteriously disappears, he must call on the most important black figures of all time to help him in his search. A gripping new saga from two Milestone Initiative members, writer Jordan Clark and artist Atagwin Ilhan, bring you this story of Ancestral Recall on page 151 there. And The Wrong Earth Volume 1 is re-solicited. Any of you who have not picked up that first volume by Tom Pyre and the one and only Jamal Igle, that's available there on page 152.
Basically answers the question, what if the Frank Miller Batman teamed up with the Adam West Batman?
Indeed. Yep.
If they ended up on each other's Earths.
Good times. Dan Parsons' Safiya, Mummy #1, American Mythology, putting this one out. Michael Gordon, Dan Parsons. This was originally serialized in American Mythology Monsters and is told the way it was meant to be read in a single horrifying sitting. So puts that all back together into one package here, available for you on page 157. And Alex Segura and Elizabeth Little bring us Dusk. The city of Blackstone is propped up by corruption and fear. Public defender Jamie Nunez's former baseball hero, now a divorced dad, has tried his best, but the criminal justice system targets the weak and poor. So Jamie's chosen a more direct way to make a difference as the masked hero known as the Dusk. When his newly inherited wealth garners him an invite to an elegant gathering of the city's elite, he decides to confront corruption at the highest levels, unaware of the secrets awaiting him. Very interesting. Start of a brand new superhero story by the one and only Alex Segura. Dusk #1.
Yep, with art by David Hahn.
Indeed. Yep.
This was a Kickstarter, and now it's a miniseries.
Fantastic. Out of AMP Comics. Once again on page 160. I'm going to make sure to mention the companies behind these books as much as possible, because if you can't find them in one place, you can hopefully find them in another. Sabrina the Teenage Witch, Book of Magic. Kelly Thompson, Daniel Page. Art by Veronica Fish and Andy Fish. This is the full collection of Kelly Thompson and Veronica Fish's iconic Sabrina series, spanning 2 story arcs and an extra special bonus holiday story, all in one collection here on page 165. It's had really, really good buzz around it when it originally came out. So if you're looking for a fun, modern Sabrina story, This one's going to be for you on page 165. All right, here we are. So this is the back cover story of this month's previews on page 172. Civil War homage there by Alex Conant as cover B. But Echoes introduces a new superstar in Grell, who embarks on a quest to discover the world of Echoes. On his journey, Grell encounters many of the beloved characters from Michael Turner's legacy, including superstars Aspen Matthews of Fathom and Grace of Soulfire, as they join forces with Grell on a shared mission. This marks the first time these characters have all come together in the same universe. Produced by Marvel Studios founding chairman David Maisel, this is a brand new universe inspired by the art and creations of Michael Turner and Jeff Johns, and features an Aspen Comics all-star creative team of J.T. Krull, Alex Conant, Mark Roslin, Pete Steigerwald, and Josh Reed. So, new universe for Aspen to play around with based on Michael Turner stuff and Jeff Johns stuff. Ecos number 1, 48 pages for $4.99.
This is a decent attempt at a revival.
Yeah, it is. Yeah, absolutely. And a little bit more worthy of a $4.99 price tag there with 48 pages. So, page 172 for that relaunch. Also, a couple of different variant covers there by a bunch of other well-known people. Peter Thierras over at AWA brings us Kill or Be Killed one-shot by Mike Choi on the illustrations. Nice horror one-shot. Black Box Comics Ninja Kaiden. Not Gaiden, Kaiden. Very, very different. Ed Palicki, Lucas Bayer. Page 182. So here's something you don't see every day, mostly because you don't see Devil's Due every day. Spotlight on Mercy Sparks' daddy issues. Devil's Due has kind of just become Josh Blaylock's, playpen at this point. So whenever he wants to put out an issue, he does it under Devil's Due and he makes it happen. But this is a new series here starting off by Josh Blaylock on the writing and the artwork chores. As Mercy's angel hunting days are behind her, but old wounds open thanks to problems caused by the father figure who raised her and the chaotic, messy flings and crushes of her past that came later. Well, Devil's Due lives on page 189.
Well, he did recently put this book out, which I decided to pick up.
Oh, Comics No More Rules?
Yeah, because he wrote, this is Breaking Into Comics No More Rules. He wrote Breaking Into Comics a couple of years ago. And I bought that back when I wanted to break into comics.
Nice.
So I decided to pick that up because for the lulz.
There you go. This seems like it might be up your alley on page 190 here, out of Drawn and Quarterly, called Canon by Lee Lai. Once Canon and Trish were each other's lifeline, two queer second-generation Chinese nerds trapped in the suburbs. Now on the uncool side of their 20s, the essentialness, of one another feels harder to pin down. In Canon, Lee Lai's much anticipated follow-up to the critically acclaimed and award-winning Stone Fruit, the full palette of a nervous breakdown is just a slice of what Lai has on offer. I remember Stone Fruit, so this could be interesting here, Canon. On page 190. It's 304 pages for $30 in hardcover form.
Oh, may have to get that.
Add it to the list.
Maybe not this order, but eventually. I am. You know what? I'm gonna Microsoft
add it
Word.
Add it to an eventual list that doesn't have to be this list.
Canon HC, right? It's a hardcover.
Yep.
What was the company again?
The company was Drawn and Quarterly.
Drawn and Quarterly.
More Scrooge action on page 201 here. A reminder, this is also in the Lunar catalog, and that's probably where you're going to find it, but I'm going to mention it here anyway. DuckTales Treasure of the Lost Lamp, Disney Adventures Afternoon Adventures Volume 6. So this is further Disney Afternoon Comics finally getting their collection. And it's all DuckTales here. As Scrooge and Launchpad versus the sinister sorcerer Murloc in a battle for Kali Baba's treasure. Gotta love it.
I mean, there's so many volumes. It's almost like every day they're out there making DuckTales.
Woo. Ooh, that's true. Yeah, very true. That's there on page 201. The Moon Prince looks like it's made to be an Eisner winner, just even looking at it. Fantasy graphic novel starring biracial orphans Max and Molly in a rollicking adventure to the moon with a powerful anti-racist message by Kevin Fraser Much. And the artwork is incredibly unique and vivacious, I'd say. So the Moon Prince available in softcover for $30 on page 202 here. And once again, these are all available in the Lunar catalog as well.
Mm-hmm.
Is this Scholastic here? I think it is, right?
Looks like it.
Yeah, okay.
I saw Captain Underpants.
Okay. Then page, yeah, you're right. Page 211. Marvel, Hulk Teach by Jeffrey Brown. Jeffrey Brown does this better than nobody else. Mm-hmm. and this is going to be a original series filled with comics, mischief, and misadventures starring the Hulk. All ages. It's Hulk. It's kids. It's hilarity. It's Jeffrey Brown. Worth it. Absolutely worth it. Available both in softcover and hardcover while we're at it. It's cheaper in softcover. Page 211. Always like when they do that, when they offer them both ways. And this is a Mobius book. Metal Hurlant. I repeat, it's a Mobius book. Out of Humanoids. Transgressive, provocative, mind-bending. The seminal sci-fi anthology lives. And it is Metal Hurlant on page 215. So this is 50 years after the debut of Metal Hurlant in France. The iconic and genre-defining publication is returning to English with a bigger and bolder iteration than ever before as a quarterly anthology published by Humanoids. You get a whole bunch of different stories in here from multiple French creators and translated into English once again. So Metal Hurlant on page 215. Some of the best artwork you can possibly find anywhere. Like, my God. Good stuff. My Gorilla Family by Ajuma Ichiro. Have you ever pondered what it would be like to marry a gorilla? Or to have your deepest desires granted by satanic genies? Well, you find out in this. My Gorilla Family. Why not? Apparently, it's a new printing, so it's existed before, but that was enough of a description to make me want it. Page 224. That is very strange. This is maybe the one thing that Diamond could maybe like go whole hog on is try to like go all in on the strange, like go all in on the books that would be niche enough to warrant the continued existence of you as a.
They are the third largest distributor now.
I know.
So they don't, don't really have much of a choice there.
I agree. Oni is yet another one that is no longer with Diamond, but I will mention this in passing here on page 234. Adventure Time, The Bubbling College Special by Caroline Cash, writer and artist. We get ourselves some alternate universe Adventure Time books. Featuring Princess Bubblegum and Marceline, the Vampire Queen. I am all for that. And it's there for you on page 234 and also available in the Lunar catalog. So is Zach Thompson's Cemetery Kids Run Rabbit, which is a new miniseries by Zach Thompson. Cemetery Kids Don't Die. Neither do Goonies.
Nope.
Rick and Morty versus the Universe Summer of Love one shot by Daniel Kibblesmith and Jody Hauser. That's a good team. That is a really good team to be working on a Rick and Morty story. especially a summer one-shot, page 241. Page 248. Tama, gotta kill 'em all. The virtual pet that wants to kill 'em all. So, Tamagotchi gone horribly, horribly wrong.
Don't leave your virtual pets unattended, or else they will want to kill you.
Panic Entertainment LLC brings this one out by Adam Schlagman and Doug Pascoe, with Daniel HDR on the artwork and Dustin Nguyen doing the cover in a very Death Note-y way, I will add. But yeah, I agree, Raph. Don't leave your Tamagotchi unattended, or else they might do horrible, horrible things like they do here in Tama #1 on page 248. Scholastic, Marvel, the official X-Men How to Draw softcover. So if you want to learn how to draw things the X-Men way, you can do so there on page 255. Taschen America brings us Walt Disney Carl Barks Library, Donald Duck Volume 1, 1942 to 1950. In 1942,
price tag.
I know, $200 for 552 pages at 11 by 16. So it's worth it for that. But it's a lot of money. It's a lot of money. First of all, investment. Duck Stories brings together several of the artists and Fowl's early classics in lovingly restored detail. But yes, pretty penny. Wait for a discount. Taschen books are always expensive, unfortunately.
Mm-hmm. You get what you pay for, though.
Oh yeah, definitely. So that brings us to the end of the Diamond book outside of manga. I will go back to manga in a moment. I'm just going to open up the Lunar catalog real quick so we can touch on tomorrow's and see if there's anything else real quick in here before we wrap this sucker up. Let's see. So tomorrow's is right there on page 418. And I will mention once again that Udon is no longer with Diamond either, so this is where you're going to find your Udon stuff moving forward.
None of the major companies.
Nope. All right, here we go. Onward we go to tomorrow's, and I actually managed to get there in a somewhat fast fashion. How about that? So this month's Alter Ego, concluding our presentation of Eddie Zeno's book on the early Superman artists begun in Alter Ego 193, with a focus on style setting, Wayne Boring and classic cover illustrator Winslow Mortimer, featuring a fabulous previously unprinted cover by Boring. Also, Fawcett Collectors of America and Michael T. Gilbert in Mr. Monsters Comic Crypt.
I pre-ordered it.
Excellent. Let me know what you think about it. We also get futuristic rockets, robots, and ray guns of space age pop culture on page 421 of the catalog. All about as much sci-fi as you can fit into a hat, essentially, including the Jetsons, Star Trek, Lost in Space, and Tang. Gotta have Tang.
And Marvin the Martian.
Yep.
And the Brain Eaters.
Yep. Let's see. Anything else worth it in tomorrow's? No, everything else has been there before, one way or the other. So we will move ourselves down to Udon real quick and see if anything catches my eye in there. And the answer is nothing, because there's very little. So
yeah, Udon. Yeah.
Udon is kind of gone.
Yeah, they've been hanging on by a thread for the last 2 decades.
Street Fighter, basically, and that's about it.
Yeah, and even then, Street Fighter was always late to the point where I gave up on them as a company because of it.
Yep. Post Malone is working on a comic. I want to point that out here. This is issue 2 of Post Malone's Big Rig out of Vault on page 432 of Lunar. Adrian Wassel on the writing chores, Nathan Gooden on the artwork as well. Heaven,
Vault has
horsepower.
They have a bunch of like content creator related books. Like I think they're the ones that did the Jacksepticeye book, and also Moist Critical has a book, which these are names I hope both of you will never learn because I've been on the internet too much for the last 5 years. And this is the purview of people half my age, and yet I know all this.
Well, how about Tim Seeley and Patton Oswalt with Garth Graham bringing you more Money Shot? Money Shot Big Bang. The Big Bang continues. Anti-sex despot has led to the triple explorers back to the planet Infernalis, homeworld of Kink King Acreus Fack. Thank you, Patton Oswalt and Tim Seeley. I greatly appreciate it. That's worth it. All right, and that will do it there for Vault, I believe. Unless you guys have anything else, it's onward to Manga. Okay.
Like I said, it was kind of sparse. I didn't see. I missed a couple of books, to be fair, because I do it through the DCBS like ordering system, so I don't. But like, it was really pretty quiet for me.
I wouldn't be surprised if some of the manga I mentioned here also does not actually wind up coming out through Diamond. As I don't know if Viz is sticking with them, but Ray is worth mentioning. Samiri Ichigaya's got it tough. She's drowning in debt, surrounded by nosy neighbors, fighting for discount supermarket meals, and working a dead-end job experimenting space pests left over from a failed alien invasion. It seems like things just can't get any worse until she's abducted by aliens and wakes up with a monstrous new arm and a foul-mouthed voice in her head. You know, like most people. So, Ray. Page 275. Story and art by Yoshiaki. And I'll look for one more manga, and then we will go ahead and call it. Looking for something with a weird name. Because if it ain't a weird name, is it even manga? It's that damn Lunar catalog. It's too big. I'm going to have to compress it. All right.
Oh, what's that about -1? I think that's the American novelist adaptation.
Where was that?
There it is.
There we go. Okay, got
it. It's the English translation of the Takashi Yamazaki written novelization, which is basically just the script with a couple extra details.
Nice.
This is where we learn that that the Godzilla source in the movie is not the only one, apparently. But it is the only Godzilla. It is the only, giant monster.
Fair enough. Godzilla -1 softcover puts the script in novel form, available on page 299. All right, and there's not a lot tonight. Oh, you know what? Here we go. Got it. Welcome to Demon School, Irama-kun. Irumafia Edition, Volume 1. That'll do. Get ready to meet the lovable cast of Welcome to Demon School, as you've never seen them before. A brand new spin-off of the Runaway Hits series. Iruma is a dirt-poor but unfallingly cheerful young boy who grows up in a ruthless city slum. One day, Iruma gives an injured old man his last loaf of bread and nurses a stranger back to health, only to find out that the elder gent is none other than Don Sullivan, head of the Babel Mafia. Soon after, Don Sullivan comes back, whisks Iruma away, and begs the boy to become his grandson. And just like that, Iruma begins his new life as the next in line to lead a gigantic gang of, dare we say, demonic mafiosos. The Sopranos, but a mafia. That's also demons. Woke up this morning, got yourself a demon. Beautiful. Page 306. And I am calling it. I assume you didn't have anything in the back of the book, Murd.
Oh, but I did.
Oh, excellent. And you know what? I'm uncalled it.
I feel obligated because this is the last chance we'll ever get to go through the swag pages in the back of the book.
I have one thing.
I have one token thing to shout out as well.
Excellent.
Mine is on page 41M.
Okay. Raph, is yours before that, or?
I don't remember.
Okay. Well, either way, we're heading to 41. Here we go. Did I overshoot? I probably overshot. 38. Almost perfectly. There we go. Page 41.
And right there it is.
Ha ha!
It's from Pee-wee's Playhouse. It's a plush toy of Globey, the Globe. Now, granted, it's the Season 2 redesign of Globey with the weird big nose, which is the less appealing of the two versions of the puppet that appeared on the show, but still, it's pretty cool. And if you go to the bottom of that page, you get a set of 7 little Pac-Man plushies. Pac-Man and 4 normal ghosts and 2 energized.
There it is.
Nice. Well done. Well, here's hoping that we'll still have a way of accessing the previous catalog digitally, and that it'll still even have a back to it, and that it'll at least look a little bit like this still. Because, that would be nice. And then on the next page, by the way, there's some really adorable Sesame Street plushes.
Also totally worthy of mention.
Mine was pins.
Okay.
And it.
What page?
You know what? Go back up to page 38 because I think that's a much better one. There it is. You passed it. The previous exclusive.
Nice.
You passed it. It was
38. Yeah.
Maybe it was 40. It was the page right before Murd's.
Oh, then 40.
There it is. He's sleeping right there. Right there. Look at that, sleeping Godzilla. Because I don't. The thing is, the reason why I obsess over Godzilla merch is there's been such precious few releases in my lifetime, especially in America. And recently, I think Toho made a commitment to like produce more merch for America, and this is part of that. There's also a Godzilla pin that I wanted to mention, but it's been available in the Godzilla store for a while now, so it's not really new. If you go on the Godzilla shop, the American Godzilla shop website, it's there. So I just ordered it from the magazine because I saw it during my previews order. I was like, okay, why not?
Wow. Nicely done. Nicely done.
That's it. We're done.
All right. Excellent.
Goodbye, previews.
Yep. And next month we'll probably mostly be using Lunar as our main catalog. If there's a way for me to readily access Diamond's catalog for July, I might still pay some attention to it, but again, it's a swan song in a lot of ways for that. But previews episode will live on. There's still plenty of stuff to talk about in the Lunar catalog, as long as I find a way to compress it, because it's 1 gig on its own, and that is gonna kill my computer if I try to open that every single time. So good times. All right. So that is that with that. Murd, absolutely a pleasure having you on anytime, my friend, and may your weekend not be rainy.
Oh, thank you, Ian. I hope your activities are free of rain as well. We're both kind of chanting the rain, go away for our respective activities. I hope both of us go away happy.
Most definitely the case. Yep, and we do still have a retro movie review to come sometime in July. July is going to be a busy month for me in particular, but we're going to try to fit some stuff in. We're already slotting in a day to do the Superman review episode, so that will happen before I leave for a trip. And other than that, I may be running some syndicated episodes. Mr. Chris Eberly was recently on an episode of Back to the Bins that is Born Again focused, that I will gladly run on here. And there was also an episode of Is It Jaws, where he went through the entire Daredevil film library, essentially. So both film and TV, and also Born Again, I believe, was included in that. And Paul Spataro has given me permission to run it on the feed, and I will gladly do so. So stay tuned for that. And I may even run my podcast I was a part of, the wrestling podcast, a couple of months back. So who the hell knows? All right. That is that with that. And here we go. Email address for Comic Timing is comictiming@gmail.com. Facebook.com/Comic Timing is where you can find the Comic Timing Facebook group and the Comic Timing fan group while we're at it. You can go ahead and find us on Blue Sky. We are at Comic Timing. You can find us on YouTube. We are at Comic Timing Podcast. We're also on Instagram at Comic Timing Podcast. And we are on Threads as Comic Timing Podcast as well. Once again, comictiming@gmail.com if you want to email us. And that's about it. So for Murd, for Raph, and for me, I'm even going to say, reminding everybody out there, there's always time for comics. Burr, burr, burr. Burr, burr, burr. Previews. Burr, burr, burr. Burr, burr, burr. Burr, burr, burr. Diamond previews. Burr, burr, burr. That was really bad, but good.
It was acceptable.